where the flags there are currently flying at half staff. Others have come just to pray. Meanwhile, the parking lot is still full of vehicles owned by students after they weren't able to take them home yesterday. Law enforcement does remain on scene here. That does include the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. But one thing that's not happening today is class. Class is not in session today or tomorrow, for that matter, in any Barrow County school. They are offering grief counseling at their central office in Winder. Reporting live in Barrow County, Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
The 14-year-old suspect, Colt Gray, is being held at the Gainesville Regional Youth Detention Center. He is due to make his first court appearance in Barrow County tomorrow. Now, several fundraisers are set up to help the families of the 4 people killed in the shooting at Appalachian High School. We posted information that where you can donate at WSBradio.com. It is 81 degrees in Atlanta. How much rain could we see over the next couple of days? Meteorologist Christina Edwards will have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast coming up at 12:05. Michelle Chapeau brought her 2 therapy dogs to the school in Barrow County today as the community of Winder continues to mourn. They are offering comfort to the survivors of the shooting.
One of the things that both of these dogs do is called deep pressure therapy, and what they can do is, like, if you have a child that's having an anxiety attack or stressed out, or even a grown-up, they can like lay across your legs.
She says NOLA and Sutton can be helpful for children who find it hard to talk about trauma they may have gone through. Police in Gainesville say they have arrested a 14-year-old boy for making threats against his school. In a social media post overnight, investigators say the teen caused public alarm by referencing threats and actions on social media. Police are not saying which school the teen attends, but they say he is charged with making terroristic threats and disrupting the operation of a public school. This just in, Hunter Biden plans to plead guilty in his federal tax evasion trial in Los Angeles. The president's son was in court today for jury selection when his lawyers informed the prosecution of the change of plea. Hunter Biden is accused of failing to pay more than $1 million in federal taxes between 2016 and 2019. Investigators are on the scene of a deadly plane crash in Paulding County.
The wreckage of the small fixed-wing single-engine aircraft is being recovered after 2 people on board are killed.
There was an instructor and a student, so it was a flight lesson.
Major Ashley Henson with the Paulding County Sheriff's Office says the plane was last seen on a flight tracker about an hour after takeoff from the Paulding County Airport Wednesday. Crews later spotted the plane nose down in the woods off Crawford Road in Rockmart. The flight instructor is from Florida. The student is identified as 27-year-old Jonathan Lara of Powder Springs. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
A motocross coach who worked with kids in Dalton, Georgia, is sentenced to prison on child sex charges. The U.S. Attorney in Atlanta says 33-year-old Ryan Myung traveled across the country working as a motocross coach, and that's how he found his victims, all between the ages of 6 and 13 years old. Between July of 2019 and December of 2021, he sexually abused half a dozen children and produced images and videos of the abuse. He's been sentenced to 40 years behind bars. Georgia Power customers who have seen their rates go up over the years will be getting some money back.
The motion is designed to send $122 million to benefit customers at Georgia Power and partially offset recent customer hikes. Beginning in January,
we expect this to result in estimated savings of about $2.25 per month for the typical residential customer.
Georgia Power spokesman John Kraft says the funds come after Governor Kemp signed a couple of state bills earlier this year which lower the company's corporate tax rate. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta-based Delta Airlines is hiring. The airline is looking to hire more flight attendants. Applications are now open for the 2025 hiring class. Those who apply are required to be able to work in the U.S., speak, read, and write English fluently, and be at least 21 years old. It is 12:04, and this news is sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. And in the 24-hour traffic center, here is Veronica Harrell.
And right now, dealing with a new delay now over on that south perimeter. 285 eastbound the outer loop at 675. Traffic trooper Andy says, watch out for a crash in the left lane. Now, the crash at Boulder Crest Road has since cleared. Everything is gone, but you do have construction 285 eastbound the outer loop as you approach 675 in the left lane. Elsewhere, construction over in the right lane, 285 eastbound the inner loop at Glen Ridge Drive. Going to cause a few brake lights through Sandy Springs. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
Now Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast, sponsored by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of summer. Here's meteorologist Christina Edwards.
Cloudy skies today, breezy, the east wind gusting 20 miles per hour. Some areas of light rain or drizzle moving through. Daytime temperatures will be limited to the upper 70s to low 80s. Cooling down to the mid 60s for tonight. Tomorrow, widespread rain showers. They will be heavier south of I-20, as much as half an inch of rainfall possible for tomorrow. Daytime high 75. Saturday, mostly cloudy and breezy, but drying out. High 83. Sunday and Monday, mostly sunny. Morning lows in the upper 50s. Daytime highs in the low 80s.
81 in Midtown. More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. It's Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. I hope you are doing well today. The phone number, if you want to be on the program, 877-973-7425. As always, text Eric to 33777, and you can follow along with the show, the live stream, the podcast, so much more. I want to kind of review some from yesterday. I want to talk to you a little more expansively now that we have more details. There was another school shooting in the United States yesterday. This one close to home. Just to give you perspective, I had close to 24 different people texting me yesterday, all concurrently. I finally just had to shift my monitor around so I couldn't see all the texts coming through. People who were affected by the shooting, who know me, who either had kids in the school or some of them, their children were teachers at the school. We're talking 1,900 kids at Appalachia High School in Barrow County near Winder, Georgia. Not Winder, as Vice President Harris said, Winder, Georgia. It obviously affected a lot of my listening audience, but yet it's another school shooting. You know, one of the listening audiences is Parkland, Florida. One of the other listening audiences I have is Newtown, Connecticut, all affected by school shootings and disturbing patterns of kids. And of course, the natural reaction in our country today, culturally, with the media and politicians, is to run towards gun control. But we have a Second Amendment that is an individual right to keep and bear arms. Every other amendment in the Bill of Rights is incorporated against the states. The Second Amendment was not for a very long time and finally was by the Supreme Court. And it makes sense. If the other amendments in the Bill of Rights apply to the states, then the Second Amendment has to as well. It's legal shenanigans to say otherwise. Unlike the abortion right, the right to keep and bear arms is clearly expressed in constitutional language. You can't actually find a right to abortion in the Constitution. You can't do it. It's not there. Doesn't make it any easier, though, when we're dealing with the loss of 4, 9 injured, 2 kids, 2 teachers killed. I want to begin again because it's come up overnight, and a lot of listeners weren't around at the time. And I want to begin today where I ended yesterday and just talk to you a little bit about evil. Because we have conversations about guns, we don't have conversations about evil in society, and evil is real. Even atheists believe in evil oftentimes, spiritually. They believe in evil. They may not believe in God, but they're willing to acknowledge there's evil in the world. And oftentimes I get asked by atheists and others, how could I believe in a God who gave my wife cancer? And I tell them I don't believe God did. I believe we live in a fallen world full of sin and sinners. And sin twisted the world, and part of sin is disease, and disease is cancer. And that's why my wife has it. But I believe in a God who loved me so much that he came to earth, born in a manger, lived a perfect, blameless life, and was crucified as an awful sinner, though he wasn't, died but rose again. He does not allow us an escape from the evil of this world, but he himself decided to suffer through it with us, and I don't know why. If I knew all these answers, I would be in a cult, not a true religion. But what I know is that he's real. And contrary to the claims of some that God created evil, God did not create evil. He created all things, but evil is not a creation. Evil is the absence of God. And where God is not, evil is. And we see it in our world today as more and more people push God aside. We see more and more evil in the world, and oftentimes a very banal evil we don't even recognize as evil, the twisting of the world and science. The products of evil abound. People are very casually evil. Many times we assume the evil is good. Here we have a 14-year-old who, when he was 13 years old, 14 years old, by the way, just hold on to that fact. A 14-year-old did this. A 14-year-old. He's not of the age of consent to even enter into a contract, and yet was able to commit this horror in this school on classmates and teachers, and had been wanting to do it for a year, we now know. And police say there was nothing on which they could have detained him at the time. He denied it was him, said it wasn't him. His father said he didn't have access to guns. There are lots of questions there about that. And also prayers for that family, too, dealing with this tragedy, and prayers for all the other families affected. But we're dealing with a 14-year-old who committed an act of evil. We don't know a whole lot about him. They want to try him as an adult. He's going to be arraigned today. But, you know, so did God create the devil? Well, God created an angel. And that angel could choose to follow God or choose to not follow God. And this gets into some of the stuff I was talking about yesterday in theology, that mankind is the only creation of God's creatures who can repent. Once an angel decides not to follow God, there's no coming back from that. Hell is a choice. Hell's a choice the devil made. Evil in the absence of God is the absence of God, and in that evil, that absence of God, those creatures who chose not to follow God fill that void. Demons are real. Aliens, I don't think, are real. Demons are very real. We don't talk about that. It sounds crazy to talk about it. It's wild how many people are so spiritual these days, and they might believe in angels or metaphysical crystals that can have some sort of power, but you don't want to talk about demons or the devil. It's the greatest trick the devil did, is to make us be convinced he's not real. Evil is a real thing, manifested in a creature devoid of God that might prowl and prey upon us. Sin itself is real. Sin causes disease. Sin causes turmoil. Sin causes my wife's cancer. Not my wife being a sinner per se, but a fallen world where disease entered in the form of the world. And when God flooded the world and wiped everything out, he couldn't wipe sin out of the world because he left Noah. Noah and his family were sinners. And it just spread back into the world. That's my worldview, by the way. God is real. Heaven and hell are real. God created a world. Adam and Eve were created in the image and likeness of God and chose evil, and their will is now bound to sin, and they can repent. This kid who did this 14-year-old, might one day find God and repent and be made whole and new, and still spend the rest of his life dealing with the consequences of what he did in a prison somewhere. It doesn't bring back the dead. And so we, as creatures in a fallen world, tend now to turn to our new religion, politics. Instead of prayers and thoughts and prayers, we turn to just do something. What could we do? Ban guns? We would have to get 2/3 of the House and the Senate and 3/4 of the states to do that. Ban assault weapons? Good luck getting that through Congress. And by the way, one of the worst mass school shootings in American history was Columbine, and it was during the assault weapons ban, and they still were able to pull it off. So what exactly do? We should probably have that discussion on mental health that no one seems to want to have. The left always wants to run to guns. A friend of mine says, do they want to run to guns because they're just thinking if we have enough of these school shootings, maybe they can get rid of the Second Amendment, so they actually need this violence to keep happening until people have enough of it and say, okay, we'll change the Second Amendment, because they don't want to fight and do anything on the other parameters. They don't, for example, want to allow teachers to be trained and arm themselves. They're perfectly comfortable with teachers being used as human shields, but also to have swords to protect the kids. They don't want that. I personally am in favor of letting teachers who wish to be armed to be trained and to carry concealed so that no one knows, so that they can actually help and protect. In private schools, some private schools, that happens. In a lot of public schools, it doesn't. That the left refuses to actually think differently on these issues and just go immediately to gun bans and let's have no other conversation about anything except gun bans makes me wonder if they actually want to solve the problem of school shootings, or are they using those as a convenient way to eventually maybe get to repealing the Second Amendment, which they're not going to do when it takes 3/4 of the states and 2/3 of Congress to do. There are ways to minimize and mitigate, but we're also not going to get rid of evil. And that's one of the other issues that people tend to seem to forget, is we're not going to get rid of evil. As we drive God out of society, evil is the absence of God, we're probably going to get more evil. We're probably going to get more awfulness in our society across the board. We see that awfulness spreading on both sides, a cold, casual cruelty to each other. Instead of loving our neighbor, we hate our neighbor if our neighbor's not part of our tribe. That's evil spreading. In the absence of God, we get that. In the absence of God, you know what we get? We get politics. Politics is our religion. Politics is our God. We worship at the altar of Moloch in Washington, not the altar of God Almighty himself. We believe that we have it within ourselves to alter our creation and society, whether it's the environmentalist or whether it's the conservative, one or the other, that we decide we can impose our will on society. Instead of having to rely on an almighty God, we become God ourselves. You shall be as gods. It's what the devil told Adam and Eve in the garden. It's the title of my new book, You Shall Be as Gods. We have become gods in our eye, and all we can do is make a mockery of the real one. There are 2 kids and 2 adults dead in Barrow County, Georgia, because a 14-year-old obtained a gun by law he's not allowed to have and used it to kill them and injure others. Passing a law to ban a gun is not going to happen, and even if it did, it's not going to bring those 4 back. But I continue to just wonder if maybe instead of having the gun conversation, we should have the conversation about how it is a 14-year-old chose to go down this path. What possessed a 14-year-old to want to commit a school shooting, something he's wanted to do since he was 13 years old? If we're not willing to have that conversation, we're not really willing to deal with the potential solutions to these problems. We're not really willing to honestly explore this violence. The just do something, pass a law, ban the gun, that doesn't figure out how a 14-year-old, when he was 13 years old, began to fantasize about killing people in a school and ultimately carrying it out. And I do suspect as we push God out of society, we get more, not less. More violence, more evil. And it comes oftentimes in the form of isolation and remoteness. It comes oftentimes in people not knowing their neighbor, let alone loving their neighbor. They're isolated from each other. We isolated a whole bunch of kids in 2020 and 2021. Their grades have gone down as predicted. They've become more isolated. They've become less likely to know their neighbor, certainly not care about their neighbor, not love their neighbor. We're getting the society we ourselves designed because we ourselves shall be as gods and reorder the society as we want. And the society that we've decided we want is not a healthy society. And until churches stand up and people stand up and fill that void, the only void that's going to fill it is a government, and a government that fills it is a government of a bunch of sinners who's just going to be a sinful government without a solution to the problem and nature of evil. The way we solve this problem is we have to recommit ourselves to love our neighbor regardless of which party they support or how they identify in society. And we have to begin individually and as groups ministering to those who feel left behind in society or isolated from society, feel outcast from society, or don't even wish to be a part of society. We were not made to be alone. People need community. And it's going to be our local communities that come together and solve these problems. It's not going to be elected officials in a state capital or a national government passing laws that are arguably unconstitutional to scratch the itch to just do something. If you want to do something, you yourselves are going to have to engage in doing it. Evil has yet again visited a group of people in a school. Kids are dead, teachers are dead. The evil indwelled a 14-year-old boy who, since he was 13, wanted to do this. If we're going to have all the conversations about guns and not have the conversation about why a 14-year-old decided he wanted to do this, we're going to keep having the problem. And to the extent partisans wish to yell about guns, instead of talking about mental health and isolation and a 14-year-old doing this, there will be no solution to the actual problem, which is evil is filling the void because we've shoved God aside.
Want to be on the show?
Hello? I love your show.
Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
1221 in the Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center with a crash over on 285 eastbound. The outer loop right around 675 has moved from the left lane off to the right. Still, you may deal with some brake lights. This report brought to you by Georgia United Credit Union. Watch your savings grow. Open a high-earning savings account at Georgia United Credit Union today and visit gucu.org/save. That's gucu.org/save. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
The morning rush hour, evening rush hour, and everything in between.
Crash on the shoulder is enough to do it. 75 northbound at Highway 54.
Tune in 24/7 with the Triple Team Traffic Center.
Or Highway 41 is an
Your
alternative.
source for Atlanta's traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Y'all, it's Eric Erickson. Sell your home for maximum value. Skip the hassle with the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses. The best part, no stress. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today and start packing. markspain.com.
Did you know that even a 0.5% difference on your auto loan rate could equal thousands of dollars in savings? Get pre-approved on your next auto loan or save money by refinancing your current auto loan at Coosa Valley Credit Union today. We offer one of the lowest rates in the market, as low as 5.24%. This is Andy Harris. Come see us at a Coosa Valley Credit Union branch near you. We're local and nearby in Northwest Georgia. Plus, you'll always speak to a real person when dealing with us. So come see us.
Equal opportunity lender.
Water is definitely your home's worst enemy, and your roof is your first line of defense. But how's your roof holding up? Home Fix It Show host Dave Baker here for Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. Do this. Take a walk around your house. Notice any granules in your downspouts and gutters are scattered on the ground around your home? Granules are the protective coating on shingles. They look like small black rocks or sand, but they tend to come off as your roof ages, and if you're seeing them, your old roof may need replacing. When your roof needs replacing, you need Findlay Roofing. Findlay is a team I trust. They've mastered the roof replacement process with impeccable, high-quality work. Findlay has seen it all, they've replaced it all, and they've warrantied it all. Plus, Findlay stands behind their work with a lifetime leak-free warranty on labor and materials at no additional cost. They also offer 0% financing. So when your roof needs replacing, think of Findlay first. Get started today with a free roof analysis. Schedule now at FindlayRoofing.com.
Roof. Call Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning today and mention WSB Radio to get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned plus a free hallway for only $139. Book online at ZeroResAtlanta.com. Zerorez, all we leave is clean.
The game of football is about pain. Ever since I was 5 years old, it's been all about football. It's been about running, jumping, blocking, tackling. I stopped playing at 31.
You're listening to Michael Robinson, retired pro fullback.
I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life. I'm so glad I met Good Feet. I'm so glad those arch supports are in my shoes.
The Good Feet store. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit goodfeet.com.
Men, if you're suffering from ED or PE, Priority Men's Medical Center will get your love life back in just one visit. Their painless, breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your love life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To regain your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
If you have COPD, here are some reasons to go see your pulmonologist again. 1. Those flare-ups you keep having, they have the chance to cause permanent lung damage. 2. We now know a certain type of inflammation can cause flare-ups for some people. And 3.
When can I see Grandma?
Need more reasons? Visit www.livewithcopd.com.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. If you're on the phones, just please be patient with me. I want to get to your phone calls, and after this break, I got a short segment here. And I just got to say, talking to Jim here in studio with me, and I understand the reaction of people who are like, let's just the kid needs to face justice and get this as quick as possible, giving the death penalty, get over. And I am so sympathetic to the view, but also, I'm sorry. Maybe it's I don't know, that the dad in me something, but how does a 14-year-old, what possesses a 14-year-old other than evil itself? And even then, why does a kid fill the void with? I honestly, I don't understand. I try to be an empathetic person. I try to understand people even when I disagree with them. I cannot wrap my mind around a 14-year-old who decides to go to school and wanted to do it as a 13-year-old and go to school and do this. I know there's a phrase some people use, particularly in the South. Some people just need killing, and I understand those who would just use it at this point. But y'all, I'm sorry. It absolutely baffles me. Other than as a theological issue, that evil is real and can, in the absence of God, indwell us. But what in society? Who in society? What institutions in society failed a kid so badly that at 14, before the age of consent, he decides to take other people's lives. And two teachers stand in the way of him, and he kills those two teachers who put themselves between their students and the bullets. And again, as well, I just believe if we're going to have the Second Amendment conversation, we need to have the conversation as well about allowing teachers who are interested to arm themselves so that they're not just human shields, but also swords to protect their students. Now, I got to tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack before I get out of here. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack, it's an air purifier. It wipes out odors. It doesn't just get rid of the dust and the pollen. It eliminates the odor. So a dirty diaper odor, a smoke odor, a litter box odor, a pet odor, a cooking odor, a musty house odor, a musty basement odor, wipes them out. You can get 3 of them for less than $200, and you save $200 by going to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. Eden, like the Garden of Eden, pure as the driven snow. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code, you'll see a little box right on the front page of that website. Put in ERIC3, ERICK3. You get 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms. You save $200. Get them for upstairs, downstairs, your basement, your RV, your travel bag. You can hold them in your hand. I plug mine in with a USB cord in my laptop, and it works great. I've used it in cars. I've used it in hotels. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK, and then number 3.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 12:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. A community in mourning, students still in disbelief a day after the shooting at Appalachian High School.
I don't think it's sunk in yet. I think it all just kind of feels numb. It all just felt like it didn't happen, like it's not real.
There's no school today after 2 teachers and 2 students were killed. Community members are gathering to leave flowers, balloons, and other items in front of the school today.
It just hurts my heart that the kids are gone and the teachers are gone. It just broke my heart.
Minister Shemaine Douglas visited the school's campus to pray for the victims. The 14-year-old murder suspect is scheduled to make his first court appearance tomorrow in Barrow County. Several fundraisers are set up now to help the families of the 4 people killed in the shooting at Appalachian High School. We've posted information on how you can donate at WSBradio.com. 2 people are dead in a small plane crash in Paulding County. It crashes in some woods off Crawford Road in Rockmart on Wednesday. Both people on board died. Major Ashley Henson with the Paulding County Sheriff's Office says an investigation is underway.
They're out there now looking at the site, and they will be removing the aircraft and then taking it back somewhere to look at it more thoroughly.
The 2 on board identified as 27-year-old flight instructor Sung-Wook Lee and a flight student, 27-year-old Jonathan Lara of Powder Springs. The FAA is investigating. Hunter Biden plans to plead guilty in his federal tax evasion trial. The president's son was in court in Los Angeles today for jury selection when his lawyers informed the prosecution of the change of plea. It is unclear at this point if it is part of a plea deal. The NFL season kicks off tonight in Kansas City. The defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs host the Baltimore Ravens in a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. It is 12:32, and this news is sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive.
Hello, this is Brant Frost, founder and president of First Liberty Building and Loan. You hear about our family's company all the time right here on the station. For over 30 years, First Liberty has helped hundreds of small businesses grow by saying yes when the big banks say no. On Wall Street, opportunities to earn big returns are everywhere, but for Main Street investors, those opportunities are often hard to find. Until now. Our First Liberty notes are now open to qualified Main Street investors paying interest rates of 8 to 13% while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here in Georgia. With a few basic qualifications and with as little as $25,000, qualified Main Street investors just like you can earn an 8 to 13% interest rate. If this is you, we'd love to hear from you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and consider joining our First Liberty family today. That's FirstLibertyGA.com, FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Belinda Skelton here with another powerful testimonial from a patient who visited virtual imaging and had a life-saving experience. Mike, I want to hear your story.
I did a head scan, and I was diagnosed with a 7-millimeter brain aneurysm, which means I'm at high risk for a stroke. I'm physically fit. I get a physical every year. This experience taught me that regardless of your fitness level, we're all vulnerable to heart disease, cancer, and stroke. It also taught me a first-hand lesson about the benefits of early detection because without virtual imaging, I wouldn't have known about my brain aneurysm until the day I had a stroke.
Virtual imaging has a CT scan to screen your heart, lungs, and can detect early-stage cancer, and now they have brain scans. Call today and receive a free heart scan for you and your plus one. Yes, free with minimum requirements. Call 678-369-0202 or visit virtualimagingatl.com.
If you need to perform under pressure, then you need a Kubota on your side for the toughest tasks. Mason Tractor Company is one of the oldest family-owned farm equipment dealers in Georgia, and they have the expertise and experience to match the right equipment with your exact needs. Mason Tractor Company has Kubota tractors, mowers, construction equipment, and more. When you want a machine you can trust, you need a Kubota from Mason Tractor Company. Visit one of their locations across Georgia or find them online at masontractor.com.
At 12:34, Veronica Harrell is in the traffic center.
And right now, talking about a crash that police are going to 285 eastbound, that interloop ramp to I-85 over in Spaghetti Junction. It takes out at least one lane of travel. Going to call some brake lights for you. Dealing with a few brake lights downtown, connector 75, 85 north and south. And watch for construction, 285 eastbound, the outer loop over at Jonesboro Road, exit 55 in the left lane. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
Right now it's 80 degrees in College Park, 76 in Conyers, and 78 in Canton. More news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, because the truth is what matters. You're listening to The Erick Erickson Show.
I got forwarded a very nice voicemail from my affiliate out in Tulsa from a guy who said that he's been trying to get me off the radio out there since they put me on, and he's decided I'm not a bad guy. I appreciate that. It takes a little while. I'm just a harmless, lovable fuzzball. Fatter than I should be, not as fat as I could be if y'all see how much I eat. 877-973-7425 is the phone number if you'd like to be on the program. I want to begin with Richard. Richard, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Eric, I appreciate it. I'm going to get right to it. I'm absolutely a Christian. Jesus Christ is the Lord and Savior of my life, and he and I both know it better than anybody else. I want to back you up and say that mental health is a demonic force that you have to battle against, but to step back from a theological aspect just for a moment, because it affects us all equally: Christian, Muslim, Catholic, Jewish alike, Buddhist, atheist. Right? What we should be looking at is why these children, like you've been saying, feel the need. And I'm one that has dealt with it my whole life. I suffer with mental illness. I think we all do on a certain level. But as someone that's bipolar and have been since I was a child, it's a lot different. And you're asking a child to deal with a lot of things that adults can't deal with. Bullying, being made fun of, being picked on, being unheard. Do we know what kind of program the school had in place, or the school system had in place? Because he came from a middle school probably where he might have dealt with something.
Yeah,
and now
I don't know that we do.
This early into it. Yeah, this early into the school year, he hasn't even been bullied yet, but he felt the need, like you said. And it is a force that you have to battle against, the need to hurt other people because you feel hurt.
Yeah.
Right? So instead of looking at the rhetoric of gun control and background checks that aren't going to affect a 14-year-old child, because there's no background check, there's no magazine requirement for a 14-year-old child.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of looking at that and going with the rhetoric over and over again, before we even knew who it was, they were on the news talking about, oh, this is why we need the universal background checks, and this is why we need better gun control. You don't even know who shot them. Why not look at why it's always a male child? Why not look at why a child feels like the need to hurt other people because they feel hurt? Why not look at what the parents might not be doing at home? Why not look at what the society as a whole is not addressing?
Mm-hmm.
Versus looking at our means of defense. And that, as a Christian and as a person that believes, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I'm a person that believes in what I believe in if it makes sense. That's as simple as I can put it.
Richard, look, that's well said. I appreciate it a ton. And, yeah, there are a lot of unanswered questions. It was an AR platform he used. I assume, obviously he didn't purchase it. He's too young. And that's in the we need more laws thing. So what law would stop this? So I just, as a matter of practical application here, let me just say, as a matter of practical application, for those who want a ban on guns, it will take 2/3 of the House and 2/3 of the Senate and 3/4 of the states to repeal the Second Amendment. So that's probably not going to happen. So you go back to an assault weapons ban. Not sure that you could pass it, but even if you did, Columbine happened during an assault weapons ban, shotguns and handguns. So you're not probably going to eliminate that. A 14-year-old can't buy a gun, so a new law prohibiting 14-year-olds from buying guns wouldn't work. Gun confiscations aren't going to work because of the Second Amendment. So maybe we need to think of alternate solutions, such as, for example, allowing willing teachers, not all teachers, there are plenty of teachers who aren't going to want to, but those teachers who might want to be trained and certified to carry a firearm and concealed in a school, maybe we consider doing that. Maybe we increase mental health funding. I personally think that the government should increase mental health funding. But also, I gotta say again, I feel real strongly about this. My gosh, I'm trying not to be preachy theological to you because it's so much bigger than just the theology of the moment. But if you're a pastor at a church in a community and you're sending your kids on summer vacation to Mexico or the Dominican Republic or overseas somewhere, have you thought about your own backyard? There's a mission field in this country that is just ripe for the church. Also, I don't think it can go without being said how there are so many schools these days, public schools in particular, hostile to allowing churches to come in. I'll tell you, a buddy of mine here in the metro Atlanta area, he's a pastor at a school, and his church, a lot of the people in his church, they go to the same school. And so his church has basically taken over the after-school activities. You want the volunteer coaches for the Little League baseball team and the football team, they're probably from that church. The head of the drama program, the after-school talent show program, they're members of that church. And they've just infiltrated the apparatus of the school, and they minister to a lot of the kids in that school, not explicitly, but by being involved and having to care for the kids who are left out and neglected or bullied and bringing them in. And there are ways for churches to minister in schools without explicitly ministering in schools and filling the void in a school system. I can't get it out of my head that this kid was 14, has been plotting this since he was 13 years old on a Discord channel. And I've gotten the emails and I've had the direct messages on social media from people saying it's the video games, it's the video game. Maybe it's the video games, but I do have to tell you that there are disproportionately, when you look at the numbers of kids who are using the video games, like Fortnite and Call of Duty, including my 15-year-old versus the kids who are doing these shootings, it's not actually oftentimes a common denominator. This kid apparently had a Discord channel, was on Discord and playing games, but oftentimes the kids who are doing the first-person shooters, they're not the ones who are shooting up the school. Mental health, though, I think has to, it's incumbent on us to deal with mental health. Everybody's screaming about, we got to do something about the guns. We got to do something about the mental health. In fact, it's probably easier legislatively to deal with the mental health issue than it is the gun issue because of the Second Amendment. And I just don't think that it's helpful to fixate on the Second Amendment issue when the reality is that probably it's easier to deal with the mental health issue. Go the path of least resistance and the low-hanging fruit, and that is the mental health issue, because of the legislative concerns about the Second Amendment. I also do have to say, I am a proponent of the Second Amendment. And my incendiary view, that I don't mean to be incendiary, and I understand that the feelings are raw and the emotions are raw after another school shooting. But I personally think in this country, our solution needs to be in favor of more guns, not less guns. And I'm sensitive to the emotions of people on a day like this. But hear me out. I would prefer a well-armed citizenry that is responsible and knows how to use guns than a citizenry that has a right to keep and bear arms and the worst people in society take advantage of it and not the best people in society. we're not going to get the guns out of our society. I know the left insists we are, but we're not, because the Second Amendment is an explicit constitutional right that would take 2/3 of the House, 2/3 of the Senate, and 3/4 of the states to deal with it. So maybe we should all be responsible citizens in training ourselves on the use of arms, how to use them, how to clean them, how to take care of them, how to keep them out of our kids' hands. Do you know that a toddler, every day in this country, 365 days a year, a toddler kills someone with a firearm? I thought that statistic was absurd, but it's apparently true. Why? Because idiots leave their guns laying around for the toddlers to play with, and it winds up killing either the kid or someone else. That's irresponsible behavior. And if people would take classes and learn responsible gun safety, when we started having people show up at our home to threaten us, my wife and I put our kids through gun safety programs, and ourselves as well, because we figured, by the time you call 911 and they show up at your house, you're going to be dead. So we are our own first responders in our house. But with a gun comes a lot of responsibility. How to store it, where to keep it, never have the magazine in the gun, keep them close but separate, things like that. That we went through a brilliant gun safety program. More people should do it. More people should do it. Also, there's something else here. I really didn't intend to spend this entire time on this, but it's relevant. Parents, talk to your children. I don't know anything about the situation with this kid and parent. Oftentimes in these situations, the child and the parent don't have a good relationship. More often than not, that seems to be the pattern in these when you look at the school shootings. And the boys, and by the way, it's almost always boys, or it's a girl who identifies as a boy. The Audrey Hale, her journal is out, and basically she decided she's going to go murder a bunch of Christian kids because God didn't make her boy. Notice how the media has inconveniently chosen not to cover the actual news of this girl's journal, that she intentionally decided to kill a bunch of Christian kids because she thought she should have been born a boy, and she was mad at God. Clearly another mental health issue with mental health all around, but yet that's the mental health issue we're not allowed to talk about because we're supposed to normalize that mental health issue. But parents, talk to your kids. Love your kids. I'm running along and I'm trying to steer from the theology, but I got to go back to this one. Read the story of Noah in Genesis 6, 7, 8. God decided to wipe out humanity. He used a big flood to do it. Told Noah to build a boat. Everybody thought he was nuts. Spent a very long time building this boat. People thought he was crazy. Noah's kids, God didn't like them. They were sinners too. But Noah found favor in God's eyes. So Noah's kids were allowed on the boat along with their wives because the father found favor in God's eyes, so his whole family was given a pass. Dads actually really matter. Whether you believe it or not, take from it if you just view it as a moral story, dads matter tremendously. Fathers matter. I'm blessed to have good relationships with my kids. I know fathers who have terrible relationship with their kids. Mending those relationships matters. I can't imagine what the families are going through who lost their children in the shooting, and I can't imagine what the family is going through whose son did this. I don't want to even attempt to walk in those shoes to try to understand it. It's just too awful. But having good, right relationships with your kids matters. It also matters, honestly, it matters for the kids who are in that school, who were in a situation where they might have thought they were going to die, to know that they were loved. And to know as well, when that time came, and a matter of eternity became very real to them, to know it was real and where they were going if that should be. These things matter. And you shouldn't have to wait until horror comes and evil rears its head to understand those things matter. A lot of people went to Wednesday prayer meetings in Georgia last night and around the country, And those prayers were a little deeper and a little more meaningful and a little more real. For all the people who mock the thoughts and prayers, the prayers do matter. The prayers do work. And you shouldn't mock the grieving. All right. We can move on to the other news of the day. There's a lot more stuff to cover. Beforehand, let me tell you about Old Glory Bank, my bank. I actually do use Old Glory Bank. It really is my bank. I won't give you my login for my password and stuff. I'm not going to show you my debit card on camera with my number on it, but I love Old Glory Bank. Direct deposit into them. They make it really easy. I love their online bill pay. It's very easy to pay bills, very easy to use their budgeting tools online. You can get mortgages with them, loans with them. You can even deposit cash at Old Glory Bank, even though they're an online bank. You don't have a branch near you, but you can still deposit cash. They've been very innovative, very thoughtful in how they wanted to do this. This is a bank for conservatives, by conservatives. They were created because of the debanking trends in the country, and they wanted a place where conservatives, where gun owners, for gun stores, where small businesses that are explicitly conservative would have a safe place to do business. If you go to oldglorybank.com, you can get an account with them. Oldglorybank.com. You can get a no-fee checking, no-fee savings account. They've got premium accounts as well with more features. They've got business checking and business savings. Oldglorybank.com. It is my bank. It can be your bank. It can be your kid's bank as well. Get your kids a great custodial account with Old Glory Bank. Oldglorybank.com, member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply.
When the world seems crazy, he'll keep you sane. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
1250 in the Cool Ray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Right now, checking on some new trouble possibly over on I-20 westbound, right at 285 over in DeKalb County. You're dealing with construction elsewhere, 285 eastbound, that outer loop east of Jonesboro Road, exit 55. It knocks out a left lane. This report brought to you by Great American RV Superstores. Adventure seekers and road trip enthusiasts. Head to Great American RV Superstores today. Thousands of top brand motorhomes and towables ready for delivery and priced to sell. Visit GreatAmericanRV.com. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
It's 3 o'clock. Want another Zoom call?
I know for a fact.
Or Eric Von Hessler.
This is what's going on.
Now you can start listening to the Von Hessler Doctrine at work.
I'm board eligible to become a certified pundit.
And continue on your drive home.
But not quite a certified pundit yet.
EVH, today.
Now starting at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman of Hoffman Financial Group and the host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading and seeing and living through these days, from potential rate cuts to presidential elections, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz, and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no, and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Get the podcast, live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
This hour of the program brought to you by First Liberty Building and Loan, wherever you are. If you're buying a building, buying a franchise, getting a loan for heavy equipment, things like that for your business, First Liberty Building and Loan might be able to help you. Reach out to them. Spend 10 minutes with them. See if they're fit for you, you for them. FirstLibertyGA.com. They can help any business nationwide. FirstLibertyGA.com. Okay, I want to read this from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, which I need to say, as much as I have criticisms oftentimes of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, they've done a very good job covering this incident, and the local TV station, WSB TV, and my radio station, WSB Radio, my flagship station in Atlanta, very good. All of you, don't care where you are, listen to this. This is from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Marcy Gray, the mother of the suspect in Wednesday's Appalachia High School shooting, has a criminal record spanning more than 17 years and 4 counties. The 43-year-old has faced prosecution in Barrow, Fulton, and Forsyth counties, accused of domestic violence, drug possession, property damage, and traffic violations. She has also faced civil fraud charges related to a vehicle purchase and was in jail in Ben Hill County as recently as April. Marcy Gray was arrested on November 6th in Barrow County, suspected of possessing methamphetamine, fentanyl, and muscle relaxants. Publicly available court records indicate she was not actually charged with drug possession in relation to her arrest. The arrest warrant states that Marcy Gray had a glass jar containing methamphetamine, a baggie containing fentanyl, another baggie containing multiple muscle relaxants, and a glass pipe used for the ingestion of narcotics. She also concealed the identity of her Nissan Rogue by affixing a tag for a Nissan Kick, the warrant states. In December, Marcy Gray was charged with and pleaded guilty to single counts of using a license plate to conceal identity, criminal damage to property in the second degree, and criminal trespass, family violence. Her guilty plea form filed in Barrow County Superior Court showed she was prosecuted under Georgia's First Offender Act, which allows eligible defendants to plead guilty without being convicted. She was sentenced December 21st to 5 years in jail, with the first 46 days to be spent in confinement and the remainder on probation. As a special condition, she was ordered to pay over $1,500 in restitution to a construction company. She was prohibited from having any contact with her husband except through a third party for matters concerning their children or divorce. She was ordered to participate in family violence intervention program and to stay away from drugs and alcohol. And it goes on and on and on. I hope this woman is deep in contemplation today about how her behaviors affected her son in such a way that he decided to go gun down people in a school. Because a 14-year-old does not act out like that without other factors in his life. Parents, the role you play in screwing up your children or not. Wow. I'm so angry at that kid for what he did. but also know how much more depth of depravity there is in other people's lives affecting him. Complicated situation. Evil is messy. We got to move on to other stuff, and we will when we come back. There's plenty of other news out there to talk about today.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB. Atlanta's News and Talk.
Good afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. I'm Veronica Waters. News this hour brought to you by Hip Nation. WSB's top local story, the aftermath of the Appalachia High School shooting. Trying to answer the question, why? Were there warning signs? Justin Gray with Channel 2 Action News is detailing this incident report of police talking with Colt Gray in Jackson County last year about alleged threats which had been made on Discord, which is an app popular with gamers.
The Discord account was registered to Colt Gray's email address. The username was written in Russian, translated to Lanza, the name of the Sandy Hook shooter. I want to read you some of the investigators' notes of his meetings with Colin and Colt Gray. Colt stated he used to have a Discord account but deleted it prior to moving from their previous address. Colt expressed concern that someone is accusing him of threatening to shoot up a school, stating that he would never say such a thing, even in a joking manner.
Now, the accused 14-year-old Colt Gray is behind bars in Hall County at the Gainesville Regional Youth Detention Center, and from there he will have a virtual first court appearance Friday morning. It's 81 degrees now in Midtown Atlanta. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards expects some clouds today, highs in the upper 70s to mid-80s. Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast is coming up. Michelle Chapeau brings her 2 therapy dogs to the school in the community of Winder, offering comfort to survivors of the shooting today.
One of the things that both of these dogs do is called deep pressure therapy, and what they can do is, like, if you have a child that's having an anxiety attack or stressed out, or even a grown-up, they can lay across your legs.
She says NOLA and Sutton can be helpful for children who find it hard to talk about trauma they've experienced. The Barrow County community, of course, is in mourning today.
Community members are bringing tributes to the Appalachia High School campus, honoring the 4 people killed and 9 others injured in that tragic shooting. Among those, Linda Carter, who lives in nearby Grayson. She tells me she's felt one thing since the news broke.
Pain. I'm upset. I'm crying constantly. It's sad. It's sad.
Carter and many others have brought flowers, balloons, and more to the school campus. In Barrow County, Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Several fundraisers are set up to help the families of the 4 people who were killed in the shooting at Appalachia High School. Now, we have posted information on how you can donate safely on our website, WSBradio.com. In other news today, there are fewer Americans applying for unemployment benefits. Numbers out today from the Labor Department show 227,000 initial claims received in the week ending August 31st. That is a decrease of 5,000 from the week prior. And it's also just about what most analysts were expecting. You know, if you remember hearing about just how hard it was to get the latest Taylor Swift tickets, well, Atlanta's hometown airline says, watch this. Delta is hiring flight attendants for the first time in a year, and there's been so much interest, social media posters say the website's been crashing. Yeah, Delta is taking applications for the 2025 hiring season and says on its site the process may be a little slow due to the overwhelming numbers. Live team coverage of traffic and weather straight ahead.
We've all heard it before. Buy one, get one Windows. 10% off if you call today. $500 off if you sign tonight. But are these really a special? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Hi, this is Candace with Exovations, and have I got a tip for you? Don't fall for it. It's exhausting trying to keep up with all the fake specials being offered. And we all say the same thing. We're all licensed, we're all insured, we all have 5-star reviews. At Exovations, we want to earn your business the right way. But don't take our word for it. Let us show you why we say we are different from other contractors. To find out what it means to have an on-time, on-budget, and stress-free renovation, call me today at 770-205-2995 or online at exovations.com. That's exovations.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Today, we're the largest injury firm in the world, and I'm thankful to you for trusting us all these years. We'll always be here for the people, not the powerful. Injured? The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Scott Slade here to talk to you about your health. As we age, your health should be your top priority. Just like when we get our car checked out regularly, it's crucial to understand what's going on under your hood. My partners at Virtual Imaging offer safe, low-dose annual CT scanning memberships. Scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease and cancer tumors. They now also offer brain scans that can detect aneurysms and dementia. All these potential issues, the sooner you detect and then treat, the better the outcome. Your life could be saved. But even better, like most people, you could walk out with a clean bill of health and peace of mind. I got a great offer for you. If you call today, you and your spouse will receive a free heart scan. Yes, free, with a few minimum requirements. Just meet with them and learn about their membership options and start your ongoing health check-ins with Virtual Imaging. Call now, 678-369-0202. That's 678-369-0202. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
It's 1:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. And a good afternoon today on this Thursday to my friend Veronica Harrell, who's watching your commute in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Well, good afternoon to you too, my friend Veronica. Right now, folks are going to run into some delay because a crash over on 285 eastbound, the outer loop, right around 675 now takes out a right lane. In the backup, though, you do have that construction east of Jonesboro Road, exit 55, 285 eastbound, the outer loop at Jonesboro Road. It knocks out a left lane. Expect delays there. And checking maybe something new or possibly construction over in DeKalb County. I-20 westbound at 285 causing delays. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Cloudy skies with areas of light rain or drizzle. Daytime highs in the upper 70s to low 80s.
It is 78 degrees right now in Villa Rica, 82 degrees in Brookhaven, and it's 83 degrees in Midtown Atlanta at 106. More news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
My fellow Americans, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America, and I am delighted to have you with me. The phone number, if you want to be on the program, 877-973-7425. If you text the word Army, please text the word Army to 33777. In fact, I want to walk through this with you because it's really, and I'll explain to you why it's important. So the number is 33777. And if you put in the word Army, you're going to get a link back, and it says, go here to sign up to be an activist. ericerickson.actioncenter.signup. You follow this link, and it will load a website, and it'll ask you, you'll see the Eric Erickson Show logo. Put in your first name, your last name, put in your email address, and your zip code. Now, why do I want you to do that? It's not necessarily to be an activist per se, but I want to be able to keep up with you if you're interested in coming to events around the country. So, for example, November 7th, we're going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I can get into this thing right here, go into the back engine of the program, let it load, put in my information here, load it in, and I'm going to be able to tell you that, for example, in Oklahoma right now, if I go in and see how many of you listening on KRMG, or in Oklahoma City for that matter, because we're in Oklahoma City now, we have 68 of you, just 68 listeners. That's it. I have gone into the system, have texted Army to 33777, and you put in your information. Actually, I take that back. It's up to 87 now. It just refreshed. Now, why is that important? We've got 87 people. in Oklahoma. So when we go to Tulsa, November 7th, I'll be able to email the 87 people there and just say, hey, here's where the event's going to be. Here's the time it's going to be. Let us know that you're coming so we have space available for you. And we're going to start doing the same thing around the country when we go down to Florida, when we go up to Connecticut, when we go out to California. So if you will text the word Army to 33777 and fill out the information. Those of you in my flagship station, Atlanta, you do it as well, because obviously we're going to do events. In fact, I've got a event coming up soon where you'll be able to come smoke my cigars from my humidor. I want to be able to reach out and tell everybody. Just text Army to 33777. Now, I got to talk to you about an issue that some of you, okay, so Skyler out at KRMG, Tulsa, Oklahoma, he forwarded me a voicemail from a guy who said, you know what, I've been trying to get Eric Erickson off the air. Turns out, been listening, not that bad of a guy. Thanks for not listening to me. Thanks for keeping me on the air. You may hate me again after this monologue. Maybe not, but I got to have a frank discussion with you. Okay. I got to weave a bunch of stuff in here together because I know you get mad at me. But I think a lot of you are being played. I don't pretend to be the only honest broker in this business, but it gets frustrating. I'm reading this story about this indictment about the Russians. I'm like, these people are able to afford to fly private. You mean I'm doing like honest work here, and I can't get my NetJet subscription yet, and these people are making $400,000 a month from the Russians. Some of you are being played, and I think you're okay with being played, some of you, because they're telling you what you want to hear. You're on the team, rah-rah. But I think some of you don't even realize you're getting played, and it frustrates me to no end. Let's start with Tucker Carlson and that idiot Daryl Cooper, who he's had on his program. Tucker Carlson is the one who said this guy is trusted, that he's the most honest historian. He's not a trained historian by any stretch of the imagination. He's an amateur idiot. I want to read for you, for example, is something, and this is a common trend. One of the things I'm noticing about these pseudo-intellectual types that are cropping up on the right, particularly on social media, is they write a lot of words and say nothing. It's like Kamala Harris. They're channeling their inner Ibram Kendi or their Kamala Harris. And they write a bunch of words. They use lots of big words. Nobody can understand what they mean, and that's the point. They can have it every way they want to have it with no one really understanding what they mean. It's pseudo-intellectual nonsense. I want to use profanity so bad, and I'm not, but it is horse manure. So this is, so the Daryl Cooper guy goes on Tucker Carlson's show. Tucker Carlson says he's trusted. He's honest. And the guy hates Winston Churchill and actually says that the Nazis are essentially the good guys in World War II and misunderstood, and the winners wrote history, which, by the way, as an aside, when you say history is written by the victors, that's not actually true in most cases, just so you understand. And what actually sets Winston Churchill apart from so much is, as Al Mohler from the Southern Baptist Theological Society points out, he's a big Winston Churchill history buff. Mohler points out what's so unique about Churchill, particularly in the 20th century, is that his enemies praised him as much as his friends. So for a guy like Cooper to come on and actually say Churchill's misunderstood, he's actually the villain, he's not only defying the villains of World War II, saying Churchill was actually like the statesman of the generation, he's defying everybody. And what happens is a lot of these people, they're not really well learned. So I have a seminary professor I dearly love who one time in the middle of class was talking about, Protestants believe in sola scriptura, only scripture. We don't have the magisterium that the Catholic Church has. We read scripture. And my professor stops. He's like, but guys, scripture doesn't only talk to you. It's been talking to other people for 2,000 years as well. Maybe read some of them to figure out what they said scripture said to them, including the Catholics. You can't just read the Bible and say, this is what it must mean to me, therefore this is all it means because we believe in only Scripture. No. Augustine read Scripture. What did it mean to Augustine? What did it mean to Tertullian? What did it mean to Martin Luther? What did it mean to John Calvin? What did it mean to R.C. Sproul? What did it mean to Tim Keller? Read other people. What I'm finding is a lot of the people who are the pseudo-intellectuals of the left and the right these days are some of the least well-read people in history. And they're like, everything is new again. This Daryl Cooper guy, for example, is relitigating an 80-year-old war without having read the people who wrote the history of the era, many of whom fought in the war. But it's not just that. Let me read you a tweet of his. Those of you who consider yourselves a Christian, listen carefully to this tweet, because a lot of people are supporting this guy, claiming to be Christians. Listen to this. No God in any religious tradition is so consistently brutal and bloodthirsty as Yahweh of the Old Testament. This includes the various war gods and deities of peoples like the Aztec. Christianity has lost influence in part because Christians refuse to reckon with it, instead twisting themselves in knots to justify genocide, rape, incest, etc. Just so we're clear here, it is Christianity 101. Basic introductory Christianity. That the God of the Old Testament, you might want to sit down for this one. You might need to sit down for this. The God of the Old Testament is the God of the New Testament. There's a reason when Genesis says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, that John in the New Testament writes, in the beginning, the Word was with God, and the Word was God. It is John, the New Testament apostle, friend of Jesus Christ, saying, Jesus is Yahweh. And you don't have to even believe him. At some point, maybe I'll spend some time walking through this one for you. Here's a big, like, mind-blowing one for you. Though you already know this, I want to remind you that the Lord at one time delivered his people out of Egypt, but later destroyed those who did not believe. And the angels who did not keep their positions of authority but abandoned their proper dwelling, these he has kept in darkness, bound with everlasting chains for judgment on the great day. In a similar way, Sodom and Gomorrah and the surrounding towns gave themselves up to sexual immorality and perversion. They served as an example to those who suffer the punishment of eternal fire. Do you know who wrote that? That's Jude, who happened to be the half-brother of Jesus Christ, who says Jesus delivered his people out of Egypt. It is New Testament 101. The half-brother of Jesus Christ says Jesus is Yahweh. Jesus' best friend says Jesus is Yahweh. For this idiot, Daryl Cooper, to come out and say, we have to wrestle with the God of the Old Testament, was this brutal God, that's Jesus Christ. If you think he's a brutal God, you're going to meet him one day, Daryl. Wait till then. See how brutal he is to you. But also, to say that the God of the Old Testament was more brutal than the Aztec God, do you all know that there is this revision, this pagan revisionism, that the Aztec were the poor victims of the Spaniards? The conquest of the Aztec is an example of colonialism being a good thing. The Aztec were horrible, monstrous people who deserve to be eliminated by the Spaniards. No, pay attention to this. There were other tribes. They weren't all Aztec down there. And all of the other tribes in Central America sided with the Spaniards, the invading conquistadors, to eliminate the Aztec. Why would they do that if the Spaniards were the bad guys? Because the Aztec would kidnap their children and torture them, because the Aztec believed that the tears of the crying virgins, boys and girls, would cause the rains to come. And so as they were killing the kids, if the kids weren't crying hard enough, they would begin to grind their fingers and toes and slice open their legs before cutting open their chest and pulling their heart out. That's what the Aztecs did. That's why the Spaniards eliminated them. If you think the God of the Old Testament is brutal, the God of the Aztec wanted them to cut out living children's hearts after grinding their bones to make them cry to bring rain. That's moronic. And people on the right keep elevating these charlatans, these grifters, these frauds, these idiots. There's a huge story out There's been an indictment of some Russians. These Russians were funding a group called Tenet Media, run by a girl named Lauren Chin and her husband named Liam Donovan, who are Canadians. She was on the Turning Point USA payroll as well of some kind, like Candace Owens. And she apparently knew that the Russians were paying her, and then they were paying other people like Benny Johnson and Dave Rubin, apparently, Tim Pool, who didn't know. These three, Johnson, Pool, Rubin, they had no idea it was the Russians. Although I got to say, apparently one of them was getting $400,000 a month to produce a handful, like less than a half dozen videos a month. $400,000 a month. Apparently had no curiosity as to why they were being paid $400,000 a month to produce videos from somebody in at least Eastern Europe. Turns out it was a Russian propaganda campaign. The Russians pushing anti-Ukraine propaganda into the right, which a lot of people on the right have believed because a lot of trusted voices on the right were telling them that Ukraine was bad, and it turns out it's been the Russians paying them. You know, I got to say, though, that when I look at the people involved, honestly, Vladimir Putin thought this was the best he could do, is these people. The Chinese, say what you will about them, but the Chinese, they actually pay like high-end influencers, or even the Iranians. The Iranians have embedded people in the Biden administration, for God's sakes, and the Russians are paying like the island of misfit toys on the right. But so many people on the right keep falling for this stuff. Or look at Turning Point USA. They had Lauren Chin on the payroll, anti-Semite. Candace Owens, anti-Semite. They had a bunch of others that they finally had to boot over donor outrage, and yet they keep going on. They've contributed really nothing to the right. I hear all these old people all the time say, oh, Charlie Kirk and Turning Point, they're turning college kids. No, the hell they're not. They're having ragers on college campuses and putting exactly 0 points on the board. There's a huge article in the Daily Mail that the people on the Trump campaign are furious with Charlie Kirk running the ground game because they say they're getting nothing for it. People on the right keep turning to these guys. We want young people involved. I hear that all the time. So we put a bunch of young people involved who don't know what they're doing. They're making a lot of money for not knowing what they're doing. And then some of them actually happen to be unknowingly on the Russian payroll. And then we platform idiots as historians who tell us Winston Churchill's the bad guy. What the hell has happened to people on the right? Here's the thing. Truth actually matters. And we're not going, and this is the point, and people get mad at me and say, Erickson, why do you always beat up on your own side? Why do you beat up on the right? Because we're not going to beat the left when we put the short bus people from the island of misfit toys in charge who want money. They make millions off of losing. I would actually like to beat the left. And the way you actually have to beat the left is to put the good and competent people in charge, not the people who can read a history book and decide Winston Churchill's the bad guy, the Russians are somehow the good guy, and I'm getting all this money every month from someone I don't know, and it just so happens they want me to push out things that align with Vladimir Putin's worldview. I shall ask no questions and maybe delude some people. Come on, we've got to do better. If you want to beat the left, you got to bring your A game. Not the grifters, the charlatans, the frauds, and the idiots on the short bus of campaign season 2024. We're not going to beat the left, but these people, if we lose, are still going to make a pile of money and then convince you someone else is to blame. We got to do better, people. We've got to do better. Or you know what? We're just going to keep losing.
You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show, the perfect blend of news, analysis, opinion, and cooking. Yeah. Cooking.
122 in the Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Police are checking for some new trouble. 85 southbound before 17th Street, exit 84, causing delays over into Midtown. This report is brought to you by the Center for Plastic Surgery at Metroderm Atlanta. Metroderm Center for Plastic Surgery specializes in facial rejuvenation, rhinoplasty, and procedures for the body. Book your consultation at centerforplasticsurgeryatlanta.com. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
It could be a turning point in the race for president.
And I have a debate coming up with this one.
The ABC News presidential debate.
I will bring back the bipartisan border security bill.
Hear it live beginning at 9 p.m. Tuesday night. Donald Trump.
She didn't want a debate.
Kamala Harris.
I will proudly put my record against his.
Stay connected to the very latest in this presidential campaign on 95.5 WSB, your 2024 election station.
Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. Sell your home for maximum value without the stress of listing your home on the market. It's Eric Erickson here. Fall's a busy time. Trying to sell your home can be overwhelming. With the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, you skip the hassle, receive an all-cash offer, and you close within days. No showings, no open houses. The best part, no stress. With over 12,000 five-star reviews, you can trust Mark Spain Real Estate to sell your home quickly and for the most money. Go to markspain.com, find out what your guaranteed offer will be, and start packing.
Here at Massey, we know a thing or two about bugs. We've been keeping pests out of homes for almost 100 years. Our customized pest prevention program keeps bugs outside, in their home, not yours. Because when we prevent pests from getting in, we protect health, home, and family. Make your home a Massey home. Schedule your free inspection today at MasseyServices.com. Massey Services. Expect more and get it.
Shane Company has been servicing Atlanta for nearly 50 years, and we know exactly how to help you find your dream engagement ring, no matter your budget, and we'll protect it with a free lifetime warranty. Come visit us in Duluth, Alpharetta, or Kennesaw. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Get pre-approved for a great rate on your auto loan at Coosa Valley Credit Union. Act now for as low as 5.24% or save money by refinancing your current auto loan. Come see us at a Coosa Valley Credit Union branch near you.
Equal Opportunity Lender.
D. Geller & Son Jewelers is celebrating 85 years in Atlanta this month. It's been an honor to be your hometown family jeweler since 1939. Come celebrate 85 years with us in Atlanta, Kennesaw, or Sandy Springs, and read our story online at dgeller.com.
Hi, my name is Dr. Taylor with Be the Younger You Atlanta. Yes, it's true that most of our patients lose 20 to 30 pounds their first month and are on their way to regaining their health. But what's the point in losing all that weight and regaining your health just to lose it again? Exactly. That's why our program is designed so that doesn't have to happen. So you can live younger longer.
Hey, it's Shelley Winter for BeTheYoungerYouATL.com. I've lost over 30 pounds since I've been on the program, and people are telling me that I look great. For me, it has been more than just losing the weight. It's really about a healthier lifestyle, which is helping me look better and feel better and be overall much healthier. Call 770-415-3000 or go to BeTheYoungerYouATL.com.
Sound too good to be true? Listen to the patients themselves. Go to BeTheYoungerYouATL.com. That's BeTheYoungerYouATL.com or call 770-415-3000.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, could be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Go to carsforkids.org today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
My wife and I both, we ended up mildly sick for a few months, and the nasal congestion was probably the worst part. I had like a post-nasal drip, just super congested all the time. We were taking everything we possibly could, but nothing really worked.
Kyrie was miserable until a friend recommended Navage. Navage offers immediate drug-free congestion relief, flushing your nasal passages with refreshing saline and sucking out mucus, germs, and other airborne irritants. Don't live in misery this cold season. Use Navage so you can breathe easier, sleep better, and feel your best right away.
The biggest thing Navage has done has completely cleaned out my nasal passages. It was from the first use. I was able to just clear out anything that was stopping me from breathing correctly. Navage helps me clear the way, literally clear the way, for me to operate better in the rest of my life.
Experience the Navage difference yourself. Navage is available at Navage.com or at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E.
95.5 WSB, your 2024 election station.
Text Army to 33777 now.
877-973-7425 is the phone number if you want to be on the program. I am very happy to have you, should you wish to be on the show. I got to reiterate, there are so many good people on the right these days, and I just think they're getting drowned out by a bunch of people who are just in it for the money. There's a story in Daily Mail today about the people close to Donald Trump, the professionals on his team, are starting to get very worried about those who are profiting off of him. And a lot of them are pointing the finger at Charlie Kirk. And I got to tell you, Kirk has a multi-million-dollar house and a really prestigious golf club, and he tells people that, well, I make all this money off of my radio show. That's how, as someone who's on more and bigger radio stations than him, and works for a radio company that is not on the verge of dire financial straits like his is, he's not making that level of money off of his radio show. He's just simply, I can tell you, it's not coming from radio. TPUSA makes a whole lot of money, and all the entities they use are related to people within TPUSA. This is, and they're putting no points on the board. They want $100 million to run a ground game. This is, if Trump loses, it's going to be because of the people who are around him who are just cashing in on him. The ground game for that campaign stinks. I know the people, the professionals in charge, and they're deeply worried about outsourcing to these third-party grifters. It worries me. Hillsdale College is where you should be spending some of your time. You want to settle down and actually learn the truth of this country's history from real historians and folks like Dr. Larry Arnn. Go to ericforhillsdale.com today. There are so many places you can go and learn stuff from that may not be true. Hillsdale's committed to truth. They're committed to education, not indoctrination. Their podcast network is just fantastic. Dr. Larry Arnn himself has done some great free courses on the Constitution and America's founding. You can get and learn so much more about it. You can also get Imprimis, which comes free of charge to your mailbox. You don't have to pay for any of this stuff. The podcast network, the classes on the Constitution, all of this. You get it at ericforhillsdale.com. It has been their mission since the 1800s to provide high-quality free education, and they carry it out flawlessly. ericforhillsdale.com. You know, I've learned stuff. I know the Constitution. I learned stuff from them. ericforhillsdale.com. Go to Hillsdale College today. ericforhillsdale.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Veronica Waters. WSB's top local story. 14-year-old Colt Gray has his first court appearance Friday morning. The accused killer of 4 people at Appalachia High School in Barrow County will appear virtually from the Gainesville Regional Youth Detention Center at 8:30. Meanwhile, the shock and the grief settle into the community.
These kids should never lost their lives. These parents, these adults, these teachers should not have lost their lives yesterday.
The shooting at Appalachia High is the deadliest to date in 2024, and one national group says this violence has to stop.
Sandy Hook Promise says shootings like the one in Barrow County are preventable. The group formed after the Sandy Hook shooting in Connecticut says steps include creating more welcoming and inclusive school communities and teaching everyone the warning signs of violence. They also want lawmakers to pass bipartisan legislation to address gun violence. Co-founder Nicole Hockley, who lost her son Dylan at Sandy Hook, calls the Appalachia High School shooting an unspeakable tragedy and says their hearts are broken for the students and teachers stolen from their loved ones. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
A virtual hearing is slated for this afternoon involving Fulton County DA Fani Willis. It is related to her now ended relationship with a special prosecutor who stepped down from Donald Trump's election interference case. A co-defendant is contending the DA's office did not provide all requested documents in an open records request. A small plane crash takes the lives of a flight instructor and student. Teacher Sungwook Lee and Jonathan Lara of Powder Springs, both 27, died during a flight lesson Wednesday when the plane went down in some woods off Crawford Road in Paulding County. The FAA is investigating. The Georgia Public Service Commission approves a motion to deliver millions of dollars in savings to Georgia Power customers. Beginning next year, the typical residential customer can expect to see a savings of about $2.25 a month. The company says that's going to partially offset their recent rate hikes. Are the plants manufacturing your prescriptions and supplements safe?
Government data shows that some 2,000 drug manufacturing sites worldwide have not had a U.S. Food and Drug Administration quality inspection since before the pandemic.
And Jim Krasula reports the FDA considers plants which have gone without inspections for 5 years a significant risk. But the FDA is having trouble quickly doing them due to trouble hiring enough folks for this grueling world travel they face. It's 1:32 and live team coverage of traffic and weather straight ahead.
Do you frequently ask family and friends to repeat themselves? Do you struggle to understand conversations when you're at a restaurant, missing important life moments? Hi, this is Dr. Prince from Atlanta Hearing Associates, and we can help you hear better again. At Atlanta Hearing Associates, we combine the latest technology with compassionate care given by doctors of audiology to help you successfully manage hearing loss and get back to enjoying your life to the fullest. We offer hearing tests for individuals of all ages with easy online scheduling at hearatlanta.com. Symptoms: your hearing is muffled or words are not clear. It's difficult to hear when there is background noise. You turn the TV volume way up. If you noticed any of these symptoms, it's time to have a hearing test. Come on in and see us at Atlanta Hearing Associates. Easy online scheduling is available at hearatlanta.com. HEAR Atlanta.com.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals with savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Now's the time to stock up on fresh Purdue boneless chicken breast. They're on sale now. Buy one, get one free with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Belinda Skelton here with another powerful testimonial from a patient who visited virtual imaging and had a life-saving experience. Mike, I want to hear your story.
I did a head scan and I was diagnosed with a 7mm brain aneurysm, which means I'm at high risk for a stroke. I'm physically fit. I get a physical every year. But this experience taught me that regardless of your fitness level, we're all vulnerable to heart disease, cancer, and stroke. It also taught me a first-hand lesson about the benefits of early detection because without virtual imaging, I wouldn't have known about my brain aneurysm until the day I had a stroke.
Virtual imaging has a CT scan to screen your heart, lungs, and can detect early-stage cancer, and now they have brain scans. Call today and receive a free heart scan for you and your plus one. Yes, free with minimum requirements. Call 678-369-0202 or visit virtualimagingatl.com.
It's 1:35. Live team coverage of traffic and weather begins right now with Veronica Harrell in the 24-hour traffic center.
And right now, you're running into delays over on the connector 7585 southbound, right around North Avenue, exit 249. That's because authorities had to hold all lanes to clear stalled motorists from the center lane, now off to the right. This report brought to you by Mattress Firm. As Mattress Firm's best sale of the year, Labor Day sale, upgrade today and save up to $900 on select adjustable mattress sets from Stearns & Foster, Tempur-Pedic, and Sealy. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Cloudy skies with areas of light rain or drizzle. Daytime highs in the upper 70s to low 80s.
Right now it's 80 degrees in Stonecrest, 80 in Union City, and 83 in Midtown Atlanta at 1:36. More news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Smart, fearless, and occasionally funny. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. I got to spend a little more on this Tenet media story because it's actually kind of wild to me. There's just a lot of it that is just so crazy to me if you haven't heard the story. Now, but I got to begin here because this is deeply important. You know, Qatar funds a lot of the anti-fracking movement in the United States. Did you know that? I bet you didn't know that, but it's actually been pretty well documented. Qatar and Russia both are documented to be funding the anti-fracking movement in the United States, much like the Soviets funded the anti-nuclear activists in the 80s and also the environmentalists. The Qataris and the Russians make a lot of money off of natural gas sales. We produce so much natural gas, it hurts them economically, and so they're funding the anti-fracking movement in the United States. The Iranians are funding the anti-Israeli movement in the United States, the pro-Palestinian protesters. The Iranians are funding them. The Biden administration's own CIA says so. The Chinese fund academics in the United States and also agents who work in government. Linda Sun, the former deputy chief of staff to the governor of New York, just indicted as an agent of China. The Chinese throw their money around, Confucius Institutes and things like that. The Chinese absolutely put people in this country in the payroll. It happens on the left. It happens on the right. Now, it is frustrating to me that the Biden administration is dragging its feet on the individuals within the Biden administration, Robert Malley and Ariana Tabatabai of the State Department, who are reportedly part of the Iran Foreign Ministry's Iran Experts Initiative. They've been dragging their feet on information. The FBI is looking into whether Robert Malley moved classified information into his personal email, and it might have fallen into foreign actors' hands. The FBI is looking at this while the State Department's dragging its feet. The Iranians look like they have been placing people into government. What's striking to me, though, this is the wild thing to me that I think you've got to understand and appreciate. If there's a punchline to any of this, just consider China funded the former deputy chief of staff to the governor of New York and funds academics in this country and funds others in this country through Confucius Institute think tanks and other things. The Iranians were able to get Robert Malley, it seems, or he had sympathies to them. A chief of staff to an undersecretary of the Department of Defense appears to have ties to the Iranians. Some State Department people have ties to the Iranians. The Qataris fund the anti-fracking movement, the environmentalists. So do the Russians, because they make so much money in natural gas. They want to undermine U.S. natural gas sales. So if you get rid of fracking in this country, it hurts the American natural gas industry and helps the Russians and the Qataris who are funding these activists. And the best the Russians could do is like the C team of the right. It's kind of wild to me. It's also very funny. But the indictment is deeply alarming as well, because there are people on the right who pay attention to this. You're talking about a couple of million combined followers on YouTube who are getting their information. This is from the indictment. Let me read you this from the indictment. Tip of the hat to Jim Garrity over at National Review on this stuff. Over at least the past year, Russia Today and its employees, including Konstantin Kalishnikov, a.k.a. Koshia, and Elena Afanasya, a.k.a. Lena, the defendants, have deployed nearly $10 million laundered through a network of foreign shell companies to covertly fund and direct U.S. Company One. U.S. Company One publishes English-language videos on multiple social media channels, including TikTok, Instagram, X, and YouTube. Using multiple fake personas, Afanasya edited, posted, and directed the posting by U.S. Company One of hundreds of videos. Many of the videos published by U.S. Company One contain commentary on events and issues in the United States, such as immigration, inflation, and other topics related to domestic and foreign policy. While the views expressed in the videos are not uniform, the subject matter and content of the videos are often consistent with the government of Russia's interest in amplifying U.S. domestic divisions in order to weaken U.S. opposition to core government of Russia interests, such as its ongoing war in Ukraine. Since publicly launching in or about November 2023, U.S. Company One has posted nearly 2,000 videos that have garnered more than 16 million views on YouTube alone. On its website, U.S. Company One describes itself as a network of heterodox commentators that focus on Western political and cultural issues, and identifies 6 commentators, including Commentator 1 and Commentator 2, as its talent. So this is Jim Garrity. It did not take long for various reporters to piece together the details. Tennessee-based Tenet Media describes itself as a network of heterodox commentators that focus on Western political and cultural issues, and has 6 featured commentators: Lauren Southern, Tim Pool, Taylor Hanson, Matt Christensen, Dave Rubin, and Benny Johnson. Again, from the indictment, Kalishnikov, Afanasya, Founder 1 and Founder 2 have worked together to deceive 2 U.S. online commentators, Commentator 1 and 2, who respectively have over 2.4 million and 1.3 million YouTube subscribers. We can get a general sense of who these people are. Benny Johnson has 2.39 million YouTube subscribers. Tim Pool has 1.34 million subscribers. Dave Rubin has 2.45 million subscribers. The indictment refers to Commentator 4 with female pronouns, indicating she's got to be Lauren Southern. Business records show Tenet Media is owned by right-wing influencer Lauren Chin and her husband Liam Donovan. They are not named in the indictment, but referred to as Founder 1 and Founder 2. Based upon what is in the indictment, the commentators did not know they were on the Russian payroll. When they were asked who was paying them, representatives of the company fabricated a wealthy benefactor named Edward Gregorian. Commentator 1 had a little curiosity about who was paying him to make videos and why he couldn't find any information on him. The Russians sent Commentator 1 an entirely fabricated profile with biographical information, claiming that Edward Grigorian had graduated cum laude with a bachelor's degree in economics and management, had worked in Belgium, Singapore, and France, had managed risk analysis and international relations, been an investment manager, formed his own private equity firm, and he had somehow done all this without leaving a digital footprint anywhere. Now, what's so funny is that Commentator 1 said he was worried about the profile of Edward Grigorian because he advocated for social justice causes, and the indictment notes that Persona 1 had misspelled the surname of his purported boss as Grigorian without two N's. The commentators were promised and paid a small fortune for their video work. Okay, so the commentators didn't know that it was the Russians. They presumed there was some major European benefactor who wanted to pay them $4 million to produce 4 videos. This is insane. It was a fee of $400,000 per month, or $4.8 million. That's just wild. Just wild. Brock Purdy, the San Francisco 49ers quarterback, is making less per year than these clowns are to make 4 videos a month. 4 a month. Now, okay, here's the thing. They didn't know. The founders knew, and the founders probably have problems. They're Canadians anyway. Lauren Chin, by the way, you should know, is a horrible human being, an anti-Semite, who's been advocating for the breakup of the United States, and she's a freaking Canadian. She's not even American. Worked for the Blaze until yesterday. They fired her yesterday. But why the Blaze let her on with her well-documented history of anti-Semitism is, I have no idea, but maybe it's related to the fact that many of the prominent people at the Blaze online are all defending this Daryl Cooper guy and his views on Nazis. The founders of Tenet Media, Lauren Chin and Liam Donovan, clearly knew that they were working with the Russians, according to the indictment. Tim Pool did not, but Tim Pool parroted the Russians. Let me read you this again from Jim Garrity. This is one of his videos. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I'll stress it again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine. They're expanding his war. Now, don't get me wrong. I know you've got criminal elements of the U.S. government pushing them and guiding them and telling them what to do. Ukraine is now accused of blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline. Ukraine is the greatest threat to this nation and the world. We should rescind all funding and financing, pull out all military support. We should apologize to Russia. Now, Tim Pool did not know that he was getting money from the Russians, but, I mean, you can kind of understand why the Russians wanted to push out these sorts of videos. But okay, my mind reels at the fact that a 14-year-old child decided to go into a school and murder 2 students and 2 teachers. I'm like, I cannot believe that's the case. And now we understand about the kid's broken home and his problems with his mom and all. And it's just, and I still can't wrap my brain around that. And this is the other thing I can't wrap my brain around today in the news cycle is how the hell are you getting $400,000 a month to produce like 4 videos a month, and you have no real curiosity on who it is who's paying you? Good Lord. Now, maybe you didn't want to know. I mean, the indictment is clear. They were duped. But you kind of want to be duped when you're getting $400,000 a month, right? I mean, and I got to be honest, this is my confessional greedy little heart. I heard that. It's like, these freaking people can fly net jets, and I can't. I got a bigger platform than them, and I can't. My greedy, lustful heart wanting to fly private. These clowns are getting $400,000 a month from the Russians and didn't want to ask any questions. Don't want to rock the boat. I don't know. I don't have it in me to be that sort of person. Like, I won't take money to do sports betting on the program. And the sports betting apps are willing to pay me a crap ton of money, y'all. I could fly private. And I'm not going to do it because while I don't have a problem with my friends who place bets on sports, and most of my friends do, I don't want to advocate it because I see where as society we're headed with more and more young men being almost pressured, induced into doing it and becoming addicts of sports gambling. And there was a story the other day about how younger people are now, instead of investing in stocks, they're doing sports betting. And that's a societal calamity waiting to happen. I don't want to be a part of it. And so I absolutely could afford my NetJet subscription if I took the money from the sports betting, and I just can't bring myself to do it. And I like to think, based on that if someone handed me $400,000 a month to do 4 videos a month, I might think, why is someone doing this? What are the catches? What are the strings? Who are these people? But apparently I'm alone in that. The amount of advertising. So I've got a company that is desperate to do advertising with me, and I've used them before, and it is tied into products for cooking, and I've used them before. I don't want to say the name, but they're horrible. Just their products are gross and all that. And I don't want to smear them. They wanted to pay me a lot of money to promote their wares. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I do not like anything I've ever purchased from you. I'm just not going to do it. $400,000 a month and lack the curiosity. This is why we lose on our side, because so many people are so much more interested in taking the money. So many of the consultant class, they're still going to get their beach house if they lose. Like for example, pay attention to this one. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. Says it costs 2 to 3 cents to send text messages. 2 to 3 cents to send text messages. One of the consultants tied to the Trump campaign charging 14 cents. It's a massive premium that he's getting money off of. So it doesn't matter that the Trump campaign is running out of money. They're making their commissions and they're bleeding them dry. We've got so many people on our side who are they don't care if we lose. If we lose, they're going to tell you we're victims, that the Democrats stole the election again, and that's why we lost. Not that they were bleeding Donald Trump dry or bleeding the conservative movement dry or bleeding donors dry. That they have no morals about this. They're in it for the money, and they don't want to ask any tough questions that might sacrifice the gravy train. It's just crazy to me that this is a story. And yes, you're right. It's a story on the left as well, and there should be more coverage about the Iranians and the Chinese and the Qataris and all that. But can we get a cleanup on aisle conservative, please? Can we get a cleanup on the right side of the aisle? I think we need it. Our side is going to keep losing if we keep allowing grifters on our side to bleed our candidates and our institutions dry. At least in this case, they were bleeding the Russians dry, but still, $400,000 a month, and you didn't want to. You had no clue. You were duped, and this whole company was set up. $10 million from the Russians, and they hid it from the country. It's just a wild story. And the sad thing is that a lot of this is going to be gotten away with because it was a media institution and because of the First Amendment. They can say, well, we believe this stuff anyway. It wasn't because of the money. But the Russians, at least, will probably go to jail. What a wild thing. All right, I got to move on. I do proudly endorse Americans for Prosperity. And they pay for an ad, and I'm on one of their advisory boards. And I like them because they believe in free market conservatism. They believe in common sense conservatism. And I'm happy to promote them. They're the largest leading grassroots organization in America. They happen to be conservatives. They happen to support school choice. They happen to support parents' rights. They happen to support deregulation of small businesses. They happen to support common sense tax reform. They happen to support securing the border. I happen to agree with those things, and if you do, you can join them. They have chapters in almost every state. Go to AmericansForProsperity.org. AmericansForProsperity.org. Go sign up with Americans for Prosperity today. They're not paying me $400,000 a month, unfortunately, but still, they're a great organization. They actually spend their money in the conservative movement, not paying grifters, but actually hiring local activists to go door to door to convince other people to be on our side, to give people information that opens their eyes to common sense conservatism. They're a fantastic organization. They've got chapters in almost every state. Go be a part of it. AmericansForProsperity.org. They'd love to have you on the team.
You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show, the perfect blend of news, analysis, opinion, and cooking. Hang on. Is that right? Yeah, cooking.
152 in the Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center right now is a stalled tractor trailer over on the I-20 westbound ramp to 285. This is over in DeKalb County. It takes out the right side of the ramp, definitely causing delays. Give yourself a little extra time. Now, this report brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Train Heating and Cooling Systems are engineered to keep up with you. They run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. It's hard to stop a train. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
Stay connected to Atlanta's news, weather, and traffic with the 95.5 WSB app. Listen to Atlanta's morning news. EVH, Eric Erickson, Mark Aram, and Shelley Winter. No matter where you go, 95.5 WSB and the WSB app. Download it today or find us in the iHeart and Odyssey apps.
Call the experts at Zero Res Air Duct Cleaning and tell them WSB Radio sent you to get $50 off your next air duct cleaning service. Use promo code AIR50 at ZeroResAtlanta.com. Zero Res, it's the right way to clean.
Protect your turf from termites. Call Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters. And Breda's proud to sponsor Scott Slade, Georgia, every Thursday on Atlanta's Morning News.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Shane Company knows shopping for diamonds is a big deal. We've been servicing Atlanta for nearly 50 years, so we know exactly how to help you find your dream engagement ring. At Shane Company, we work with your budget. Choose from our beautiful hand-picked diamonds and gemstones. Select a setting, then add an engraving. It's that easy. Your ring also comes with a free lifetime warranty. Atlanta, this is our promise to you. Come check out one of our 3 local stores, Duluth, Alpharetta, or Kennesaw. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hey, this is Dr. Taylor from Be the Younger You Atlanta. Yes, our patients lose up to 20 to 30 pounds their first month, but that's only part of the story because losing weight by itself doesn't make you healthy. Think about it. Skinny people have heart attacks. Skinny people have strokes. Skinny people get cancer. Why? Largely due in part to chronic inflammation over time. Weight loss through anti-aging addresses that. That's why our patients feel so much better from the get-go. And so many get to reduce or even come off of their medications. Because if you're doing it right, you should feel great. And if you're trying to lose weight and are having side effects, guess what? Those side effects can increase chronic inflammation and they may never go away. That's why they don't get to where they want to be. So if you want to look better, feel better, and have better labs, go to BeTheYoungerYouATL.com. That's BeTheYoungerYouATL.com or call 770-415-3000. 770-415-3000. That's 770-415-3000.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
You can be live on Eric's show by calling 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425.
I am delighted to have you with me. It is Eric Erickson across the nation. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Y'all, oh my gosh, I may need to spend more time on it than I have, but yeah, I think I gotta, you know what, I've decided I'm not going to tell you what this is. You're going to have to come back in the next hour to hear this because it's going to blow your mind. I got to spend some time on this. But I do need. Oh my gosh, yes, come back. Come back in the next hour. You must. Remember, if you text Eric to 33777, you can follow along. There's a live stream button. Now, if you go to ericerickson.com, there's a button right on the front page that says listen live. If your station cuts out or you're leaving, you just click that on ericerickson.com. There's a button that says listen live. Click it. You can listen to the live stream of the show. Yeah, we got to talk about this. No, I'm not going to tell you. No. You got to come back. Right now, I need to tell you, Nate Silver has upped Donald Trump's odds of winning above 50%. Here's the thing. I told y'all this yesterday. The thing about listening to this program is that I have friends on both sides who talk to me. And the Democrats are really regretting not having Josh Shapiro as Kamala Harris's vice presidential pick because the Democrats are convinced Kamala Harris is losing Pennsylvania, and that's the whole game. 19 electoral college votes. If the election were held tomorrow, I told you Donald Trump would win. And the Democrats now realize it because as much as Kamala Harris may be doing well in the national polling, she's doing terrible in Pennsylvania. She's not actually doing well in Georgia. Donald Trump overperforms his polling historically. The odds are she's going to lose this election. And good riddance. She deserves to lose the election. She's still 60 days left until this election is over. She has no policy on her website. She is just a vapid dimwit.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-926-0155. 800-926-0155. 800-926-0155.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2 o'clock, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story, A Community Mourns.
I'm just a nobody that just came to pray for the parents and the teachers in the school.
We have continuing live in-depth team coverage of the shooting at Appalachian High School. People gathering at the school today, leaving flowers, balloons, and other items in memory of the 4 people who died. 9 other shooting victims are recovering today. WSB's Jonathan O'Brien reports live from Winder this hour with how the community is coping with this tragedy.
Bill, that's right. As you say, a steady stream of folks continue to make their way here to Appalachian High School. I've seen families walking up with blue and yellow balloons and, of course, flowers to place at the school's sign or around a flagpole in front of the entrance. The community is coming together and showing support in many different ways, including by offering towing services. Following the shooting yesterday, dozens of cars were left behind by students, and Timothy Culleton of All County Towing has made his company available for free to folks who want their cars towed home so they don't have to come back here right now. Here's what he told me.
We're just trying to give back to the community, try to relieve some stress and let families in this community and our neighbors focus on their loved ones in a time like this.
And he made those comments to me as he was actively putting a car up on his tow truck to take to its owner. He says that it will be a process to clear out these cars, but he's up for the task if it means helping people affected by this tragedy. Reporting live in Barrow County, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
The 14-year-old suspect, Colt Gray, is being held at the Gainesville Regional Youth Detention Center. He is due to make a virtual court appearance tomorrow. Several fundraisers are set up to help the families of the 4 people killed in the shooting, and we posted information information on how you can donate at WSBradio.com. 83 degrees in Atlanta. How much rain could be coming our way? Meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Hunter Biden offers a plea in his federal tax evasion trial in Los Angeles. The surprise move comes today just as jury selection was about to begin. It was initially thought to be a guilty plea, but his lawyers clarified it was an Alford plea where he maintains his innocence but accepts the evidence would probably result in a guilty verdict. It is not known if the judge or prosecution will accept the plea. 2 people are dead in a small plane crash in Paulding County. It crashes in some woods off Crawford Road and Rockmart on Wednesday. Both people died. Major Ashley Henson with the Paulding County Sheriff's Office says an investigation is underway.
They're out there now looking at the site, and they will be removing the aircraft and then taking it back somewhere to look at it more thoroughly.
One of the victims was a flight instructor. The other was a flight student. It is 2:02, and up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-2798. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-2798. That's 800-575-2798.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is Monica Pearson for Superior Plumbing. In a perfect world, when you have a plumbing issue, you want a plumber that answers the phone when you call, shows up on time, respects your home, and tells you exactly what needs to be done, quotes you a price, and does the job right the first time. They appreciate your business, and Superior Plumbing becomes your plumber for life. Call Superior Plumbing to come fix your plumbing issues.
Superior, the honest one. Call 770-422-PLUM.
Retirement doesn't have to be complicated. Are you sick of all the fancy charts and investment mumbo-jumbo thrown at you to justify the Wall Street fees you're being charged? It's not the size of your nest egg that matters, but rather the income it can produce. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, best-selling author and star in a brand new Hollywood documentary called The Retirement Deception. In this film, we traveled over 20,000 miles interviewing real Americans who have retired successfully with a great lifestyle and peace of mind. They share their stories on how they get more retirement income with the same dollar saved, and the money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even the super wealthy are shifting money into this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you are over 50 and want a bigger, better, stress-free retirement, call to talk to a specialist and get a free copy of this brand new movie, The Retirement Deception. 888-471-3896. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you get it completely free. So don't delay. Call 888-471-3896. Again, that's 888-471-3896.
It is 2:05, time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Veronica Harrell is in the traffic center.
And right now, talking about delays. Good afternoon to you, Bill. Talking about delays in DeKalb County. Stalled tractor trailer partially blocks the right side of the I-20 westbound ramp to 285. It is causing delays for you trying to make your way through DeKalb County. And then also I-20 eastbound east of Wesley Chapel Road, exit 68. Construction knocks out a left lane. This report brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Learn more about their support of common threats and nutrition education at anthem.com/stream. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Blue Cross Blue Shield Healthcare Plan of Georgia, Inc. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Cloudy skies with areas of light rain or drizzle. Daytime highs in the upper 70s to low 80s.
Right now it's 80 in Marietta, it's 82 in Lawrenceville, and 81 in Riverdale. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
0, all engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
My my fellow Americans, welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the fruited plain. The phone number is 877-973-7425 if you want to be on the program. Likewise, text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 33777. Get the show notes, the live stream, the podcast. Can I give you a different word to text, actually? Data, D-A-T-A, to 33777. Here's why. My publisher has announced that book sales for You Shall Be As Gods, they've slowed down. So if you haven't bought a copy of my book, I would love you forever if you text data to 33777 and get my new book, You Shall Be As Gods. It's about the rise of the woke progressives and how they're turning secularism into a new religion. Exciting stuff. So text data to 33777. All right, I'm so glad you're here. I've been waiting to get to the story, and I just couldn't do it in a short segment. It needs to breathe like a fine bottle of disgusting wine. The one thing Jesus got wrong in the Bible, turning the water into wine instead of bourbon. I don't like grapes, y'all. Never liked grapes. When I was in my 20s, my preacher told me you got to take communion or else. So I hold my nose, and once a month will swallow the grape juice. Ugh, I hate wine. Oh, it's disgusting. I know. Rush Limbaugh used to tell me, you just haven't had a good one. Like, no, I had a very good one. Like, I'm going to gag talking about it. No, I don't like grapes. I don't like them. I haven't liked them since I got really sick on them as a kid. Refuse. Wine just smells like vinegar. I don't care. You say, oh, this is such a fine Merlot. No, it's disgusting. Leave it alone. Get some bourbon instead. Nonetheless, we will let this air and like a fine bottle of wine, I say as I try not to gag. This is just too good. This is, the Nation. The Nation, they're the communists. You got the Nation and Salon. And the Nation and Salon are a group of people who, if the Soviet Union ever went to war against the United States, would be hoisting the hammer and sickle against their own nation. That's how far left these people have always been. The headline. The dark side. The dark side of the Democratic Party's embrace of football. Subtitle. The subtitle. The hyper-masculinity and violence of football connects to Kamala Harris's bellicose convention speech. It could repel young voters. It's talking about football. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I give you the top 100 most viewed programs of the year 2023. 98 of 100 football games. Football games. A State of the Union and some awards program. That's it. Of the top 100 most viewed, and this guy's like, it could repel young voters. You know what's going to repel young voters, you idiot, is probably your body odor, because I bet you think deodorant is a government conspiracy if you don't like football. One of the universally accepted truths of right-wing media is that the left is coordinating a war on football. As neurological data emerges from the long-term effects of football-related concussions over the last decade, the right saw this science as a ruse, a conspiracy to soften the game, weaken the American male, and contribute to the wussification of the country. Have y'all seen the new kickoff, as an aside? Have y'all seen the new NFL kickoff rules? Yes. Talk about the wussification of football? Yes. In 2016, when the NFL adopted rules to make the game safer by guarding against head injuries, Donald Trump said what used to be considered a great tackle, a violent, head-on-head violent tackle. Now they tackle bean flag. Football has become soft, like our country has become soft. Donald Trump wasn't wrong, as an aside. In other words, NFL rules changes were just another facet of the scheme to socially castrate the American male. that a large percentage of these men, like Trump, never actually played football or paid its physical costs has been left unspoken when issues like violence against women or locker room bullying and how the league was hiding it all became national stories. The right bellowed that this was another anti-male attack from the beta men and feminazis. When President Barack Obama said in 2014 that if he had a son, he would encourage him not to play football, it was like receiving final confirmation of a secret, nefarious master plan to rival the Great Replacement Theory. I bet this guy plays soccer and unironically calls it football. Oh my gosh. All right. The platform, let's skip down here. The platforming of football as a patriotic totem cannot be separated from the sport's embrace of hyper-masculinity and violence. These two pernicious parts of the game connected smoothly with the themes in Harris's Red Meat Convention speech, nationalism and a shift to the right, alongside a bellicose declaration of war readiness, having the most lethal fighting force. This message was set to chants of USA, warming the hearts of even Meghan McCain. Oh my God. Hang on. I gotta Google this guy, David Zirin. I bet this guy wears tampons to feel connected to his feminine side. Oh, good Lord. Let's read his. Oh, he's older than me. David Zirin is an American political sports writer. He's the sports editor for The Nation, a weekly progressive magazine dedicated to politics and culture, and writes a blog called The Edge of Sports. Has he written for ESPN? Oh, look at that. He's been a guest on ESPN's Outside Lines. Of course. Oh, good gracious. Oh, he's repeatedly called for boycotts of certain teams, states, or nations for political reasons, criticized Hank Williams Jr., defended Barry Bonds, supports boycotts of Israel, wants a boycott of Arizona. Wow. Wow. Zirin has contributed to The Nation, been a columnist for Slam Magazine and The Progressive. His first book, What's My Name, Fool? Sports and Resistance in the United States. Oh, so this is a guy who looks at sports as just another realm of politics. So a deeply malcontented person who has to read sports into anything. Wow. It may seem like the Democrats are playing offense. That certainly fits a sports cliche, but it gets the underlying political dynamic backward. Football and the reclamation of patriotic symbology is pulling the Democratic Party to the right. While the left never had a coordinated plan to seek pro-football, the last decade's exposure of the sport's corrosive nature is a good thing. People have the right to know the negative physical and psychological effects that can arise from playing the most popular sport of the country. Football and medical whistleblowers have exposed a right wing willing to look away from public health if it means pats on the back and campaign dollars from the reactionary billionaires that run the NFL. Claiming this sport in the NFL means claiming all the violent detritus that comes with it. When Colin Kaepernick, of course, when Colin Kaepernick took a knee in protest of police violence and racial inequity in 2016, he was banished from the league. A reminder to all players that any kinds of resistance politics would not be tolerated. That's why he doesn't like it. He's written a book on how sports can be resistance politics, and the NFL says, not our teams. This is what the Democratic Party is buying into, and it comes with risks. Democratic Party leaders clearly believe that the left is sewn up, and they are therefore free to roam the political wilderness for votes on the right. They'll use football as a way to get the message out. There are already plans for Walz to attend Friday night football games around the country, but embracing this sport could send the campaign lurching even further right. It could repel the young left-wing voters most interested in policy changes than who wins the football wars. Young people care about racism, the economy, climate change, Palestine, and a host of other issues given short shrift at the convention. Football not only won't be enough to satisfy them, its embrace may send a signal that the Big Tent isn't big enough for them. The championing of conservative symbols like football, in other words, could cost Harris and Walz the election, and it will be their own doing. You know, and I know, that the day after the election, if Donald Trump wins, he's going to have a piece of the day say, it was football, the most popular sport in America, whose games are the top 98 of 100 most watched programs of the year every year. It's the embrace of that cost them the election. And then he'll go stock up on tampons. My gosh. We call Tim Walz Tampon Tim. This guy is really like a walking one. Good gracious. When I was a kid in Dubai, so I grew up in Dubai, Charlie. When I was a kid in Dubai, they had this TV ad. And it was literally people dressed up in tampons. I'm not making this up. It was Kotex commercial. My sisters can back me up in this. And this is how they sold it. They just danced. Kotex, Kotex, Kotex. And they danced back and forth as if they were all happy. I had no idea what they were advertising. When I was like 3 years old, my mom had a Bible study at her house, and I got into her box. I didn't know what they were. I thought they were fake fingernails. I slid them onto my fingers and walked into the Bible study class, tapping along the wall as I went, like I was some sort of like scary creature coming in. And there I had them all on my fingers saying, look at my new fingernails. I have no memory of this, but my parents shame me with this story in front of friends whenever I bring friends to their house. So I'm shaming myself now and telling you. And then I go to Dubai as like a 5-year-old, and here they are dancing on the TV. This guy could have been one of the dancers in the commercial. I mean, good golly molly, this is the embrace. This is an actual, not an AI computer, but an actual human American being who claims to identify as a male, wrote, and I quote, the embrace of football could repel the young left-wing voters more interested in policy changes than who wins the football wars. Young people care about racism, the economy, climate change, Palestine, and a host of other issues. Given short shrift at the convention, football not only won't be enough to satisfy them, its embrace may send a signal that the Big Tent isn't big enough for them. The championing of conservative symbols like football, in other words, could cost Harris and Walz the election. And it will be their own doing. Have you ever, do y'all know the people who, they get paid and they got to justify their pay by writing hot take? This guy is a sports columnist, supposedly. I'm using air quotes. This guy actually, he wrote this. I'm not going to say he doesn't believe it. He must believe this. He probably also believes boys can become girls. He also probably believes that soccer should rightly be called football and that it's the superior sport when it's not. It's boring. Y'all, this is who is on the other side, and we should be able to beat them, but for the grifters and hucksters and con artists on our side who are just trying to cash in. This is madness. This is the left in America. And they should be mocked mercilessly for this sort of hot take. The dark side of the Democratic Party's embrace of football. The hyper-masculinity and violence of football connects to Kamala Harris's bellicose convention speech, and it could repel young voters. Not as much as I bet your body odor does, buddy. Good Lord.
He's got the courage to tell you the actual truth, even when it isn't popular. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
220 in the Coolray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Well, you are really running into delays now over in DeKalb County with a crash over on I-20 westbound, that ramp to 285. Right now, it is completely shut down, and actually, it's a stalled vehicle. It's the I-20 westbound ramp to 285 southbound DeKalb County. Avoid it. Use 285 northbound. Use that ramp or Covington Highway. And this report brought to you by Atlanta Motor Speedway. Don't miss the Quaker State, available at Walmart. Kicking kicking off the NASCAR playoffs in an epic way September 6th through the 8th. Get tickets online at AtlantaMotorspeedway.com. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
Get pre-approved for a great rate on your auto loan at Coosa Valley Credit Union. Act now for as low as 5.24% or save money by refinancing your current auto loan. Come see us at a Coosa Valley Credit Union branch near you.
Equal Opportunity Lender. Monica Pearson for Superior Plumbing. Do you have a plumbing issue but have a busy weekday schedule? Superior Plumbing can schedule an appointment that fits your schedule. They show up on time and get the job done right the first time. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2. Have a plan to get there. Step 3. Make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all three with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future results.
The children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down, so she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
The Good Feet store. Call 1-800-NEW-FEET or visit goodfeet.com.
If you need to perform under pressure, then you need a Kubota on your side for the toughest tasks. Mason Tractor Company is one of the oldest family-owned farm equipment dealers in Georgia, and they have the expertise and experience to match the right equipment with your exact needs. Mason Tractor Company has Kubota tractors, mowers, construction equipment, and more. When you want a machine you can trust, you need a Kubota from Mason Tractor Company. Visit one of their locations across Georgia or find them online at masontractor.com.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
This is Greg Trzynski from the Original Mattress Factory. Parents, before you buy your student's mattress online, consider this. At OMF, we offer the same convenience, but with major advantages. You can actually try our mattresses before buying, crucial for your student's comfort. You'll know exactly where your mattress comes from, right here in our local factory. By supporting the Original Mattress Factory, you're investing in our community. And here's the kicker, you'll pay less than you would online. Quality sleep, local support, and better prices. OriginalMattress.com.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Want Eric's weekly recipes? They're super delicious. Text recipe to 33777 now.
Greetings. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're going to be watching football this weekend. So There's this place north of Atlanta. If you ever want a nice little place in the southeast to go, it's called Barnsley Resort. It's this English village along this green, and it's got this one of the only Fazio golf courses that's like out of the middle of nowhere. There's no development around it. And I'm going to go for the next several days and hit golf balls and smoke cigars and enjoy not being around anyone. It's going to be my quiet time. I'm even going to do some fishing. I'm also going to be doing my show tomorrow, but I'm going to do the show from there. I have my whole setup so that I can do my show with you tomorrow and then immediately go hit golf balls. I'm getting a golf lesson on Saturday. My wife and kids last Christmas, they gave me the gift of go to Barnsley by yourself and relax, and I intend to. I wanted to stay in their cabin, the Fuger cabin, but it's way back in the back by itself, but decided not to bust the budget. It's still going to be a wonderful time without any of you or my family or anyone else, except a few select friends who are coming by to hit golf balls with me. Should be a great time. But you know what I'm also going to do on Saturday? I'm going to watch college football from my balcony of my little cottage while I smoke a cigar. Maybe have an adult beverage. And I will think about the moron at The Nation and laugh at him that this guy, he may write about sports, but I'm pretty sure he's not a sports guy. He just needed a job and decided I can write angry hot takes about how the misogyny of sports. I bet he liked that pink-haired awful woman who played soccer, who the American soccer team sucked until she was gone, Rapinoe or whatever. I just not a fan of hers. It was nice to see the Americans win the gold medal in soccer after she was gone. Just one of those everything's got to be about. I just don't understand people like. I do politics for a living, y'all. Politics is my job, and I do not understand people who make everything about politics. Politics is supposed to operate in a small sphere of our lives. The problem is progressives, and now a growing number of progressives on the right. There are progressives on the right, by the way. They want politics to encompass every aspect of my life. I don't care about where my cow came from that I eat. I don't care about its name. I don't care about how it was fed. I just want a tasty steak. And I don't care about the politics of football. I just want to watch football. I want to play golf. I don't care about the environmental impact of golf, which, by the way, it's very environmentally friendly. I do want to watch the Rory McIlroy Scotty Scheffler game in Las Vegas against DeChambeau and Koepka. But nonetheless, I digressed. I got other stuff to talk about. When we come back, the Biden administration has decided to deport nuns, of all people. First, I got to tell you about Vision Computers. If you go to visioncomputers.com or call them at 404-COMPUTE, they can be your tech support solution. So if you do not have a computer from Vision Computers, if you did, you get this for free. But if you don't, let's say you got a dental office. You got like a bunch of dental assistants. You got 10 computers in there. And you got a bunch of ladies who are really great and men at putting braces on and taking braces off. But they're not IT people. They need somebody to help them with their computers. Well, you get Vision Computers involved, $179 a year per computer. Each of your fine dental technicians can be excellent dental technicians and then say, hey, my computer, I don't know what I'm doing here, or something's not right, or the email's not working. They call Vision Computers. Less than 15 seconds, they get an answer, and Vision takes care of it for them. And you don't have to pay the six-figure in-house IT guy. Vision does it. VisionComputers.com. They're going to save you money. They're going to build you great computers, and the tech support comes for free if you get the computers from them. 404-COMPUTE, VisionComputers.com. Tell them I sent you. Save even more money with my name.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
At 2:30, I'm Bill Caiaccio with our top local story. A community in mourning. Students are still in disbelief today, a day after the shooting at Appalachia High School.
I don't think it's sunk in yet. I think it all just kind of feels numb. It all just felt like it didn't happen, like it's not real.
There's no school today after 2 teachers and 2 students were killed. Community members are gathering to leave flowers, balloons, and other items in front of the school today.
It just hurts my heart that the kids are gone and the teachers are gone. It just broke my heart.
Minister Shemaine Douglas visited the school's campus to pray for the victims. The 14-year-old murder suspect is scheduled to make his first court appearance virtually tomorrow morning in Barrow County. Members of the Barrow County community show their support for families of the school shooting.
Donations are pouring in for each of the 4 people who died. Julie Woodson set up Ricky Aspinwall's GoFundMe. He was an assistant football coach who died protecting his students. She tells WSB his wife Shayna and their 2 kids' lives were flipped upside down yesterday, and the money will help them on the long road ahead. The GoFundMe has already raised over $120,000. Sydney Darden, 95.5 WSB.
LL Flooring, which has several locations in Metro Atlanta, announces today it's closing its 200 remaining stores across the U.S. The news comes after the company, which used to be called Lumber Liquidators, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy last month. LL Flooring says it failed to find a buyer. Going out of business sales start on Friday. The NFL season kicks off tonight in Kansas City. The defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs host the Baltimore Ravens in a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. And yes, Taylor Swift is expected to be there. It is now 2:32, and up next, live team coverage of traffic and weather.
Scott Slade here to talk to you about your health. As we age, your health should be your top priority. Just like when we get our car checked out regularly, it's crucial to understand what's going on under your hood. My partners at Virtual Imaging offer safe, low-dose annual CT scanning memberships. Scans take less than 10 minutes and screen with 98% accuracy for heart disease and cancer tumors. They now also offer brain scans that can detect aneurysms and dementia. All these potential issues, the sooner you detect and then treat, the better the outcome. Your life could be saved. But even better, like most people, you could walk out with a clean bill of health and peace of mind. I got a great offer for you. If you call today, you and your spouse will receive a free heart scan. Yes, free, with a few minimum requirements. Just meet with them and learn about their membership options and start your ongoing health check-ins with Virtual Imaging. Call now, 678-369-0202. That's 678-369-0202. Or visit their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
If you have COPD, here are some reasons to go see your pulmonologist again. 1. Those flare-ups you keep having, they have the chance to cause permanent lung damage. 2. We now know a certain type of inflammation can cause flare-ups for some people. And 3,
when can I see Grandma?
Need more reasons? Visit www.livewithcopd.com.
Hey Atlanta, Shane Company knows shopping for diamonds is a big deal. We've been servicing you, your friends, and your family in Atlanta for nearly 50 years, so we know exactly how to help you find your dream engagement ring. We also know you deserve a diamond as big as your love at a price that works with your budget, not against it. We've always sourced diamonds directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. Visit one of our 3 stores, Duluth, Alpharetta, or Kennesaw, and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. Then choose the setting that speaks to your style, pick your center stone, and add a decorative crown and an engraving. It's that easy. Or select a perfectly preset ring created by our design team that's ready to go. With our everyday competitive prices and free lifetime warranty, at Shane Company, we'll get it right every time. As Atlanta's family jeweler, this is our promise to you. Come on in and see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
At 2:34, Veronica Harrell is in the traffic center.
And issuing a travel advisory now with this stalled tractor trailer. I-20 westbound, the ramp to 285 southbound. The right side of the ramp is blocked, but at times the ramp is completely shut down. Avoid this over in DeKalb County. Think about using Covington Highway. I'm Veronica Harrell, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Cloudy skies with areas of light rain or drizzle. Daytime highs in the upper 70s to low 80s.
Sunshine expected to return for the weekend in the low 80s. Right now, it is 83 degrees in Dallas, 82 in Jonesboro, 82 in Snellville. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Bill Caiaccio, 95.5 WSB.
He's got the courage to tell you the truth, even when it isn't popular. You're listening to The Eric Erickson Show.
Hello, my friends. It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. I gotta talk to you about a wild political story, and a friend of mine forwarded this to me. They're 2 separate stories, and they're deeply related to each other. Backstory here. I may have grown up in Dubai, but I'm from rural Louisiana. And one of my mom's friends, my mom was in the DAR, and my mom had a friend named Maud Williams. God bless her. I love that lady. She was Reagan Republican, hardcore conservative. And when I was in high school, she'd treat me like a grown-up, and we would talk politics, and she was fantastic. And as she was old and dying, a sister, Celio Montenegro Pesigan, of the Daughters of Mary, a Filipino nurse, would sit with her. She has this Filipino nun, Sister Silo, has been in the East Feliciana and East Baton Rouge Parish, Louisiana, serving since 2014. And she is getting deported by the Biden administration. They're not deporting the gangbangers. They're not deporting the Venezuelans who have taken over the apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado. They're deporting a nun. And do you know why they're deporting the nun? She's done nothing wrong. Her green card expired. Now, here's the thing. Father Lamar Parton of St. John the Baptist Catholic Church is asking for help. Father Lamar explains that in 2020, she was out of status due to no fault of her own. The person who oversaw her visa in the church was out sick. The lawyer retired and shut down her office. The government was shut down. The office in which to file the paperwork for her visa renewal was closed due to COVID. So her green card expired. Her green card expired due to COVID. The people involved were sick with COVID. The government office in which you file the paperwork was shut down because of COVID. So her green card expired. So they began deportment proceedings when Joe Biden came into office. And they explained the green card expired because the office in which we had to apply for renewal was closed due to COVID. And the government said it didn't matter. And so they appealed. And the government rejected their claim. So they've appealed. They've appealed and appealed and appealed. And they've said it's not our fault. The person who handles this was out with COVID, and then the government office into which we apply was closed because of COVID. We tried. As soon as we realized the problem, we tried. And there was no one to whom we could get this issue resolved. It didn't matter to the government. The government's evicting this nun, throwing the nun out, because the government would rather throw out the nuns than throw out the gangbangers. The most Catholic president ever would rather evict a nun than gangbangers. But it's not just them. The Diocese of Paterson, New Jersey has filed a lawsuit against the federal government over changes to immigration regulations for religious workers, which has created a massive backlog in the processing of priest applications and renewals. This is a pattern with the most Catholic president ever administration. The change came as bureaucrats decided to add a special category of juvenile migrants to the same immigration category as religious worker visas. So there's a cap on green cards every year for religious workers. The bureaucrats in the federal government, not Congress, the bureaucrats decided to classify juvenile migrants into the same immigration category as religious adherents. And there are 100,000 juvenile migrants trying to get green cards in a program set up for religious ministers that have an allotment of 10,000 green cards. The change in policy, for which the government has offered no explanation, has created a backlog in permanent residency applications by clergy and religious serving in American dioceses who entered the country on R1 religious worker visas. Before the policy change, priests could enter the country on an R1 visa, begin ministry, apply for permanent resident status with a reasonable expectation they'd have a green card within 18 months before their 5-year R1 visa expired. Since the policy change and the resulting backlog, priests looking to convert their R1 visas into green cards can wait years, meaning they have to leave the country when their temporary visa expires and wait a year before they can return under a new R1. The issue is causing acute problems in many Catholic dioceses in the United States. Alongside the diocese, the lawsuit lists as plaintiffs Father Emmanuel Caballas and a list of other ministers, most of whom are Hispanic. At the U.S. Bishops' Conference Plenary Assembly in June, Bishop Mark Seitz of El Paso, chairman of the Bishops' Committee on Migration, told the bishops of the conference that following a national survey of the reliance of U.S. dioceses on foreign-born priests, the most important takeaway is confirmation that this situation is only expected to worsen with time. A priest applying for a green card today will be forced to wait an estimated 15 years before a resident visa becomes available to him. While noting the maximum time a priest can spend in the country under an R1 visa is at least 5 years, with a year out of the country before reapplying. This is simply not sustainable for our ministries, and it is devastating for parishes that will be left without a pastor when he's forced to depart the country at the end of his R1 visa. This has already begun to happen in some of the dioceses. The State Department acknowledges the 2023 policy change has created significantly longer worldwide waits for religious worker green card holders. While the department recognizes the importance of religious ministers and workers as well as their U.S. employers who lead faith-based institutions, only Congress has the ability to address the imbalance between the limited supply of EB-4 visas and the increasing demand. The increase in demand for the 10,000 annual permanent visas granted in the fourth category of employment-based immigrants in the U.S. is a result of a policy change created in April that took effect in May of 2023, by which the government included special immigrant juveniles in the same immigrant category as people with religious worker visas. Under the previous policy, those 10,000 green cards were allocated so that no more than 7% of them are given to immigrants from any particular country. However, as part of the policy change, federal immigration authorities removed the 7% cap for special immigrant juveniles from Northern Triangle countries of El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. The federal government made the change after deciding the applications for neglected or abused minors had been in the wrong queue for 7 years, and now they should apply in the same category as priests and nuns. And they say only Congress can fix it. So notice what the State Department is doing. The State Department made a policy change themselves that is now depriving the Catholic Church of priests and nuns in the United States and saying, oops, our bad, Congress is going to have to expand the cap and allow in more immigrants. You might be asking yourself, if the State Department made the change, why can't the State Department change it back? In fact, they can. The most Catholic president ever, however, has chosen not to do so, or to instruct the State Department to do so. The most Catholic president ever is overseeing the eviction of Catholic priests and nuns from the United States of America by design to allow illegal immigrants to convert into the country. They're prioritizing illegal immigrants over nuns and priests. I'm not Catholic and I'm outraged by this. As a good Presbyterian, I am outraged because it doesn't, this is a story from PillarCatholic.com about what's going on here, but it doesn't affect just Catholics. It affects others as well. You know, for example, the United Methodist Church has been going through an upheaval and a schism. And conservatives in the church actually won the vote on gay marriage, and the progressives were in charge of the bishoprics. And so the liberals in charge, the progressives in charge, they just said, I mean, screw you people, we're not listening to anything you have to say. And so even though the conservatives in the United Methodist Church won the vote against, for example, gay marriage and gay ordination in the United Methodist Church, the bishops were mostly liberals, and they said, well, we don't care what the Democratic vote says. We're ignoring it. And so the conservatives said, okay, that's fine. We'll leave. We'll leave. And it was African bishops. It was the African bishops who were coming over to the United States, and they were the ones helping conservatives win. The fine, uppity white people in the Catholic Church of the United States are the progressives who don't really care what the Bible says. It was the African priests who take their faith seriously. And they were coming over voting in the General Conference, and they were voting conservative. Did you know that this past year they were going to have a big vote, and the conservatives lost after the American State Department blocked the visas of the Methodist priests who were coming over from Africa? Like, they were coming over for the General Conference, and a massive number of Catholic Methodist preachers had their visas canceled. They had gotten them, they had approval to come, and they showed up at the airport to come, and their visas were no good. There hasn't been any congressional investigation into how mysteriously this could happen to help the liberals and the UMC in the United States with their vote. They wouldn't have otherwise had the numbers had that many Methodist priests come over. Fascinating how that works. So it's not just the Catholics. It's impacting the Methodists, it's impacting the Presbyterians, it's impacting the Baptists. You know, at this point, there are more people from Africa, Christians from Africa, coming to this country as missionaries than there are American missionaries going to Africa. That's how unchurched this country is now. It's the Africans having to come here and re-witness to the United States. And the Biden administration wants nothing to do with it. They're canceling the visas, and they're deporting the priests and the nuns. This nun in South Louisiana, the parish priest says her ministry is essential. She keeps homebound parishioners of the Catholic Church connected to the community. She visits them in nursing facilities and in veterans' homes. She serves the church as a sacristan, setting up masses, funerals, and other services. She teaches religious education to children and a bunch of other acts of faith and service, not just to the Catholic parish, but to the community as a whole. She's going to be deported from the United States. She helps the widows, the orphans, the poor, the refugees, and the dying. And the Biden administration, they're not deporting the gangbangers. They're not deporting the murderers. They're not deporting the illegal aliens getting the DUIs. They're deporting the nuns, the priests, the pastors, and the preachers. The God-fearing are being deported, and the godless get to stay. That's the decision of the most Catholic president ever. And don't you forget it when the media plays up his religion. Between bank collapses with hundreds more teetering on the brink, regulators fighting a seemingly unwinnable war, interest rates at 22 years high and maybe coming down not even a full point. Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years, and they've been warning people about a secret war on cash. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from the secret war on cash, listen, get this critical report from Swiss America about the secret war on cash. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, and they can educate you on protecting your assets. The report takes less than 15 minutes to read. It can save you on your retirement and finances. You get the free report by calling or texting 800-289-2646. The all-out war on cash includes digital forms of currency, and it's growing, so get the report, The Secret War on Cash, completely free just for you guys. What you do is you mention my name, Eric, when you call or text. Text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. The all-out war on cash, it includes digital forms of currency. It's spreading daily. The report is free, 800-289-2646. You can also go to SwissAmerica.com/Eric, SwissAmerica.com/ERICK, or just call, mention my name, or text my name, Eric, to 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply.
He'll do the research and give it to you straight. Eric Erickson is live every weekday.
At 2:50 in the Cool Ray Carrier 24-hour traffic center just now as I watch live on the Jam Cam at DeKalb County. Better news, 20 westbound, that ramp to 285 south that had been mostly blocked for the last half hour or so. Exit 67 has just reopened. Stalled Big Rig towed away, but a 10-minute delay, 20 west leaving Panola Road. Rest of the freeway starting to slow as you get into rush hour mode. Construction at Southeast Atlanta on the outer loop just clearing up. 285 east near Jonesboro Road. I'm going to check delays at Johns Creek along 141 Medlaw Bridge near State Bridge. Doug Turnbull, 95.5 WSB.
If it's happening on the streets of
There are now
Atlanta,
more cases of Georgians getting very sick.
if it's happening on the roads leading to
Heading
Atlanta,
south, those delays start just south of 485.
we've got it
Classes are
covered.
back in session at Decatur City Schools.
Your 24/7 news source.
Covering the stories that impact you.
Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-2798. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
Or call 800-575-2798. That's 800-575-2798.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Men, if you're suffering from ED or PE, Priority Men's Medical Center will get your love life back in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough medical treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments will restore your love life regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. Plus, you'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients will have their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To regain your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is Medi-Share. Maybe you've heard switching to Medi-Share to pay for health care can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for Medi-Share is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. Medi-Share works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 877-26-BIBLE. That's 877-26-BIBLE. 877-26-BIBLE.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Get the podcast, live stream, email, and social media links by texting Eric to 33777 now.
So it appears Hunter Biden is taking a plea deal, pleading guilty on tax issues. I was explaining to my kids the other. So my son, oh my gosh. Okay, so my son has a friend of his who's 14 years old who cuts people's grass. And my son says, so I asked him, Dad, about the taxes. How does he deal with the taxes? And his friend says, I don't pay taxes. And Gunner asks his friend, says, well, I mean, you're making money. You don't have to pay taxes? He says, no, they're gifting me money for thanks for cutting their yard. It's not income. It's a gift. Gunner says, Dad, I don't think that's how it works. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. However, he's not making enough money to have to pay taxes. There's really no crime here. It's just if he continues this in life and doesn't get to that point, dude is going to jail. And I said to my son, I was like, even Hunter Biden, the son of the President of the United States, could not escape the tax man. They're not. They're thankful I'm cutting their grass, and so they're gifting me all this money in cash. It doesn't even take Venmo, just wants the cash. I was like, oh my gosh, I can see federal penitentiary in your future, young man. Wow. Okay, I gotta leave you with this today. I gotta leave you with this. Donald Trump now says he lost by a whisker in 2020. And some of his longtime ardent supporters are furious with him for seemingly suggesting he lost and it wasn't stolen. The amount of intellectual vigor poured into the fight for whether or not 2020 was stolen. I mean, I know you and I, we might disagree on this, but he now says he lost by a whisker. I think that's a fair assessment of how things worked out for him, whether you do or not. But to see people who have otherwise supported him now attacking him for saying that, why did we pour all of our energy into this whole Stop the Steal thing? Ask yourselves that. Don't ask him. Ask yourselves that. I was surprised the media didn't blow this up even further than they did. My suspicion is they don't actually believe him when he says that's what he thinks he lost by a whisker. They think otherwise. But the fact of the matter is, at least we can move on to try to win in 2024. I continue to believe in the Democrats. Again, like I said yesterday, Kamala Harris would not be spending as much money as she is in Virginia, New Hampshire, and Minnesota if she were winning those states. She would not be spending money there. We are literally 60 days from today is the election. You focus on the states you need to boost. That's why Trump is focused on Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, because he's got to win those states. That she's over here spending money, do not believe her when she says it's about the Senate races. That is not true. Her polling is scary for her. Trump's going to win.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
You know, the Sam's Club changes coming with their Plus membership are really annoying because Sam's several years ago with their Plus membership gave you the opportunity to have free delivery of most everything in a Sam's Club. And that was the privilege you got for paying the higher membership fee. Well, now Sam's is like, nope, this didn't work for us. And so they're eliminating the free delivery benefit unless you hit a certain threshold in terms of each order. And did they cut the cost of the premium membership? They did not. So Sam's has really got to make a case why those of us who pay for the Plus membership should keep doing that or cut back to the cheaper membership. And that's what I'm thinking.